since Ryan Giggs was spoken about in conversation with Wales, Simon. He resigned from the role in 2022 following allegations made against him. In November 2020, Ryan, of course, was involved in all sorts of media stories. Jurors initially failed to reach majority verdicts on charges that he had assaulted his former girlfriend, Kate Greville, and her sister, Emma. But ahead of a retrial, Miss Greville withdrew her evidence. His KC, who represented him, told Manchester Crown Court, the position is that he's always been innocent of these charges and there have been very many lies told about him. In 2023, the same Ryan Giggs was found not guilty of coercive and controlling behaviour after his ex-girlfriend declined to give evidence in a retrial, and Giggs had always denied the charges. So life goes on as normal for Ryan Giggs. And over the weekend, Ryan fronted a video promoting International Women's Day for an Asian betting firm. In the clip, Ryan Giggs said, "Today we celebrate the strength, beauty and achievements of women everywhere. To all the amazing women in our community, keep shining and inspiring us all." So, as I say, he resigned from the Welsh job in 2022. And of course, we know what he did as a player. He had a glittering career as a player. How long do you think it might be that Ryan remains seemingly blacklisted from football?
I don't know whether he's blacklisted football or whether he's taken himself out of commission because of the adverse publicity around his circumstances. His private life has found its way into the newspapers for a variety of reasons, all manner of things, from things that he was alleged to have done and then not being found guilty of, that makes him innocent by association, to things in his private life involving his brother and God knows what else.
Yeah.
But these are private matters. Does that mean that he is subsequently no longer capable of managing a football team? I don't know how good a manager Ryan Giggs is, so I can't speak about whether he would make a good manager now, given the fact he's been out of the game for 4 years, things have moved on.
Well, he was Wales manager in January 2018. He led them to qualification for Euro 2020.
Yep.
At the end of the day, he has one hell of a lot of football know-how.
Sure, certainly as a player, and given the fact that he's done okay with Wales, if we're talking about another international job, he's burnt his bridges with the Welsh FA. I suspect that circumstance, whether right or wrong, that ship has probably sailed, and Craig Bellamy's doing a decent job, however long Craig stays there for, and maybe Pasha Janu awaits him. I mean, I met Ryan Giggs years ago. Didn't particularly warm to him, but that's not a benchmark for necessarily determining whether he should be a football manager or not. Clearly, he had a glittering career as a player. Clearly, he's put himself in the way of adverse publicity, one way or t'other. And that comes at a price. And the price now of modern day football is that managing an elite football club, you have to present as being the perfect human being in all aspects. If you've got any skeletons in your cupboard, allegation or proven, there's a challenge for you, because the optics of how football clubs want to present themselves around the world will be challenged by someone that has had their reputation besmirched, some of it legitimately, these two instances not legitimately, in terms of the fact that the cases have never proceeded and he's never been found guilty of anything.
That's right.
The question for Ryan is...
So should he be unemployable in perpetuity?
Well, I don't know. Again, I don't know how many jobs he's applied for. I don't know whether he's unemployable in perpetuity. I don't know what level he thinks he can manage at. I don't know, there would be nothing stopping him from redeeming his... or finding himself... It's an interesting choice of redemption from marketing that he's alighted himself upon a campaign celebrating women. He would say, well, why wouldn't I? I've been found guilty of nothing. I've done nothing wrong. These were spurious allegations. Other people would say, an interesting choice for you to get yourself associated with it, because it's going to create currency, which is maybe the purpose of it in the first place. Notably, he's had to go and do that overseas, so he can manage overseas, I suspect. If he can be given commercial endorsements to represent a brand of some shape or form, then I'm assuming, in the same way that Mason Greenwood couldn't play in this country as a footballer because of the allegations were made about him, he's gone over to France and is making his career over there.
Yeah, with Marseille.
So
do you have to separate what's going on in somebody's private life when you're thinking of maybe appointing them to some position in their professional life?
It depends upon the circumstance, doesn't it? It depends upon what they've been accused of in their private life and where it's gotten to. If they've been found guilty of something in their private life and you feel that that's a compromising of your position, then you have to take it into consideration. I try not to, because those without sin always, should cast the first stone, and that means there'll be very few stones thrown in this world.
Yes.
So again, it comes down to, what does Ryan Giggs want to do. I mean, I note things like he hasn't been inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame, which can only be because there's no doubt about it, Ryan Giggs was one of the top players in the Premier League during a very defining era of the Premier League.
Most decorated of all time.
There you are then. So by definition, on a footballing scenario, he should be included in it. For the reasons of political correctness, he's not.
Yeah.
So that in and of itself, what does football want to be? Does it want to be the judge of people's moral character? What do these things represent? I suppose they'll be able to turn around and say it represents not just excellence on the field, but I thought that's what it was about. You can't be in the Hall of Fame because you're a virtuous character, can you? You have to be in the Hall of Fame because you're a brilliant footballer. So you have to get it right and get the balance right. People want to hijack it and well, actually, no, Simon, he's a dreadful person. He did these dreadful things, even with there were just allegations. And so as a result of it, he should be castigated forever. I'm not in that camp.
No, of course.
I'm not in that camp. So if he wants to manage and he wants to put himself above the parapet and find himself an opportunity to talk to people and be judged by the if we can accept people back into society. I mean, people run around revering and applauding and admiring and eulogizing Mike Tyson, who was a convicted rapist.
That's right.
Who is a convicted rapist. So with due respect to Ryan Giggs, with allegations against him that have never seen the light of day in terms of being tried in front of his peers, then he should have a free slate to some extent to manage a football team if he's good enough.
Okay. As we approach the final half hour of the show today, we're going to focus on the Champions League. Atletico Madrid up against Spurs, as we've mentioned. Galatasaray, Liverpool, you heard from Graham Souness. And Newcastle United, Barcelona. What can Newcastle do in that one? We'll look at that very shortly. It's fair to say that Igor Tudor's time in temporary charge has thus far been a disaster. And the same Igor Tudor, it appears, TalkSport understands, has alienated many of the Tottenham players. His treatment of the goalkeeper, Antonin Kinski, in Madrid hasn't gone down well with the dressing room, it is understood. Some members of the Spurs squad are understood to have been shocked, both by the timing of the decision to drop Vicario for such a big game, and then Tudor's personal response to Kinski, who he took off after 17 minutes at the Metropolitano. Spurs players unhappy that Kinski was ignored by Tudor as he left the field. And instead, Dominic Solanke, Palhinha, Conor Gallagher all jumped off the bench and followed the goalkeeper down the tunnel to support their teammate. Apparently, Kevin Danso, Pedro Porro and Christian Romero also consoled Kinski as he left the pitch. Where are we at now, Simon, with this? Have we got a bunch of players who do not approve of the way Igor Tudor is going about things? As for Mickey van de Ven, post-match, when asked about mentally, how are they getting out of this situation, how do you cope with it mentally? He says, well, I could give the standard talk that we all have to stick together and work hard, but we're just being dealt blow after blow. It's really difficult. We have an important match this weekend. I can't be at that because I'm suspended. But it's truly a terrible time. How am I feeling mentally? Well, it's tough, I can tell you. Really tough. Where do you go with that if you're Igor Tudor? Presumably, you're in the school of thought, Tudor's still got the job. As long as he's got the job on an interim basis, he carries on unaffected.
It's all well and good, the players potentially briefing in however we've managed to ascertain this information that they're not having the manager. Well, I'll tell you what we're not having is your performances. I mean, there is a school of thought that says I can't get my head around a manager called Igor. It always reminds me of the film Young Frankenstein. I can't help but think of that. Marty Feldman in the dugout.
Yes.
But the players themselves. I mean, this idea. I sat there watching it, and I felt for the goalkeeper to some extent. If they'd left him on the field and conceded the fourth goal, there would have been this deluge of opinions about he should have taken him off. I'm not in it. Maybe I'm harder, and maybe I'm not right. But this idea that somehow consoling the goalkeeper that's made two mistakes that have thrown you right in the cart, that's compounded the problems that you've got, exacerbated the debate about whether he should have been in the team in the first place. You've given him an opportunity. He's let you down. He's let the team down. His performance was abject. And what people think is he should be given a cuddle on the way out. Now, I find that perplexing because we're in a professional football field where players are paid highly, rewarded highly, lauded and applauded. They've got big enough mouths to tell you what they're entitled to, constantly brief against the establishment that they're working for. I watched Jed Spence having the audacity to go and tap the manager on the shoulder and make sure that he shook his hand. This is the same Jed Spence that wouldn't shake Thomas Frank's hand when he was on the pitch being all cocky about that back in the day. I get tired of these players. Get on with doing your jobs. To some extent, get on with doing your jobs in spite of the manager if that's what it takes to get you out of this particular problem. And that doesn't lend me to the conclusion that you go and have a debate with the players as the owner. But the bottom line is, there's too much of what these players are entitled to, too much of what they should and shouldn't be getting. The goalkeeper got the hook because he was crap. And it doesn't really matter if you sit there, give him a pat on the back, which, by the way, how can you give him a pat on the back? How can you console him? How can you turn around and say, never mind, son? There was poor performance, it's put your team in a dreadful position, and it doesn't really matter just because the optics of this bleeding heart world suggest that a professional footballer needs to be consoled because he's now ruined. How about this professional footballer goes away, gets some resilience, comes back and proves his points, rather than all these voices coming out saying that's the end of him. Maybe it's the making of him.
So do you think Tudor was right just to blank him?
I don't think it matters either which way, as long as he attends to the detail of saying to the goalkeeper why he got hooked off, what the reasons for it were, and why he operates the way he did, because it was he that gave the goalkeeper the chance. His reward for giving him the chance was that performance. So I'm not surprised in the real world where grown-ups live, rather than media commentary from people that have played the game and are ultimately a virtue signalling about what should happen to this player, is that the player should be given a cuddle. He shouldn't be given a cuddle. He should be sent down the tunnel in embarrassment because he's embarrassed himself and the team. And out of that will come some mental stability and strength and some resilience, or it won't. Because to be a professional footballer playing for a Premier League club in a Champions League game requires real steel and substance.
So was it good man management in Tudor's part?
Well, man management in terms of what? Dealing with the player and making sure that he feels all right, or trying to focus on the collective.
Dealing with the problem at the time. In the way he did it.
To whose end?
Hooking him and then not acknowledging him.
The bigger question, none of that matters to me. None of that offends me in either which way. I mean, the outcome of the performance was shaped by those 3 goals, and 2 of them were directly related to the goalkeeper, and directly related, I suspect, to the criticism that he picked him in the first place. We saw this goalkeeper. We saw him a year ago in the League Cup, celebrating with his family. Everyone, waxing lyrical about how good a goalkeeper he was. Yeah. He's been given an opportunity. He's been banging on the door. Give me a chance. And by the way, it's the lesser of 2 evils because Vaquero is crap as well. But the fact of the matter is he's given a chance and he rewards the manager with that. So if I'm Tudor, I'm sitting there like a human being going, I can't believe what I've done here. I can't believe I put this kid in goal, given him an opportunity, taken a risk because I think it's the right thing to do. I think it needs a change up because I didn't like the way Vaquero bottled out of the 3rd goal against Palace and didn't commit himself. And I want to see a goalkeeper that's got something about him. And I get this. So in the real world, rather than the world of sitting in a box like Schmeichel and others guys, that's ruined him. Why has it ruined him? So you can't have adversity. You can't have something so poor and come back from it. What does that say about society?
That's a challenge ahead of the boy now, isn't it?
Fine, rise to it.
Come back from it.
Rise to it.
Yeah.
Prove people wrong.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be your defining moment. But as far as Igor Tudor's concerned, he's called out players, got no reaction. He's taken some mythical solace from the second half of the Palace game because he can't do anything other than that because he's called the players out. The players have done bugger all. His centre-back's got sent off. Romero, is whatever he is. And now now after the second half of Palace, he goes, I've seen things I can build from. No, you haven't. You've got nowhere else to go now.
Right.
So what do you do? What do you do? Get that demented vulture, Harry Redknapp, to come back in again, who's clucking around now, making sure that everyone hears that he's in the background.
Hang on, that's a bit strong. Harry was on breakfast this morning. Let's listen to him.
I think someone like Tim Glenn Hoddle even, would still be...
What about yourself?
Yeah, I'd do it for sure. I mean, I wouldn't say... Well, I don't see myself getting it, to be true.
Have they reached out to you?
No, never spoke to anybody, so...
In terms of Daniel Levy, I mean, he's no longer at the club, but do you think if he were still in his position there, maybe you would have had a phone call?
Yeah, I got a phone call last week from Daniel, funny enough. I think I spoke to him once since I left, all that time ago. Wow. Phone goes in Daniel Levy. I thought, strange, And I on the phone about half hour chatting to him, and he was explaining, what had happened to him and how he sort of got marched out of there, which was really strange, wasn't it? And now, obviously, he's got no control anymore. He's nothing to, he's probably still owns the shares, doesn't he? So yeah, it was quite interesting. He did say to me, if I was there now, he said, I would definitely, and I'm not just saying it, so I would bring you back into to the end of the season.
So there you go.
Nice and discreet.
Well, I mean, discreet or not, Harry's quite entitled to say it because, according to Harry, that is exactly what happened.
I read the article in the Times on the weekend where he's popped up. I read the article. This is what Harry Redknapp does: pops up and circles around like a demented vulture, sees an opportunity. Whether he could go in there and galvanise, a lot of fans think he would. What he would do, undeniably, is he would get the fans on side,
right?
Because the fans are offside. Now,
well, that's the start.
Now, whether he could get the players on side, because these bunch of inherent layabouts are the reasons why you've got a problem. You can make it about the managers, you can make it about the coaches, you can make it about the board, but somewhere along the line, you've also got to make it about the players as well.
Yeah, but you have to think Harry would do exactly that. Get them together.
Maybe.
And Tudor's failed to do that.
Maybe he can bring his phone in from the jungle and he can sit on that and they can all worship at that altar.
Come on.
The fact of the matter is that we've got a situation where Spurs have got a serious problem on their hands. What you would get is the fans back on side, potentially for a period of time, until the players went out and let themselves down again. Because it is the players that are letting the club down. I know the manager's got a key part to play. I know it's his charges. This guy is not necessarily the solution. It's fascinating to wonder why they chose him and what they thought about it, because clearly they thought that a disciplinarian getting in there, livening a few of those people up, consequence of them, was the right thing to do at this time in the season. I don't know whether it was or it wasn't, because clearly you look at it and they're not having it. They're not responding, whether they're not capable of it, or they're so under-aroused that they're having difficulty getting out of the dressing room. I don't know what the solution is to this particular problem.
But you've been going after the players after we started talking about Tottenham this morning.
Because they're a disgrace.
And Tudor's done the same. Out of respect to Tudor, should the players not give it back to Tudor and give him what he wants?
But me going after the players is irrelevant in comparison with the manager going after players, because the players, I don't have any influence over the players. He does. So he has to find a way to get the results from these players one way or t'other that he needs to get. And unfortunately, you're never going to know what result they could have got against Atletico Madrid, because their goalkeeper throws in 2 goals and sets the tone. So you could never see that Spurs were going to be competitive in this game. And as it happens, they've got the same result as Chelsea. And there's no landed crisis at Chelsea as a result of getting beat 5-2.
So if you're in a lofty position at Tottenham Hotspur at the moment, next up, Liverpool away, then Forest at home. Do you say, Igor, you're in for those two?
Igor. Listen, I don't know the dynamics of why they brought him in. Only they know that. And if it's along the lines that they think that he was a temporary fix because that's what he does historically, well, that's proven to be wrong. It's proven to be the case, irrespective of how you slice and dice it, that the intellectual capital that's running Spurs, that took over from Daniel Levy, wherever people think I've got a bias towards Levy, don't know what they're doing. They didn't buy players in January to support the team. They sold a player and they brought in Conor Gallagher. Well, that'll fix a lot. Right? They got problems at that football club that they needed to fix. They've made a big hullabaloo and a song and dance and dog and pony show about how they were going to run this football club and how ambitious they were, and they're going to get them relegated if they're not careful. Well done. And then, of course, people will then visit that back to Daniel, and that's up to them if they want to do so. But I can't superimpose what their knowledge is, because I don't think they have very much. I'm looking at the decisions that are being made.
They're in a bad spot.
And the architect of that is what? Oh, yes, of course, it'll be attributed to them. This playing squad, however crap it may be, is better than fourth and bottom or fifth and bottom in this league. No, they're not a top 6 side. Granted, no way would I say they're a top 6 side, but they're a top 10 side, not a bottom 5 side. And that is on the choices that have been made. It's not on a historic recruitment programme. It's on a historic recruitment programme if you want to win the league.
Okay.
If you want to finish 6th or 5th or 4th. Not if you want to finish mid-table.
All right, we watch for it. It's a late kickoff on Sunday. Igor, this is Arnie. Arnie, this is Igor. As Tottenham Hotspur go to Liverpool. It's 12 noon. Good afternoon, everybody. 4 minutes past 12 noon. It's Jim White and it's Simon Jordan. We are live on TalkSport. A lot to get through in our final hour. I just want to re-emphasise my thanks to Martin O'Neill for joining us live. Earlier, we were joined by former Rangers manager Graham Souness, former Liverpool captain as well, of course, who was looking ahead to tonight's Champions League game. The early kickoff, 5:45, Galatasaray, who Graham used to manage as well, up against his former club, Liverpool. Some big matches on the go tonight. Newcastle, Barcelona being one of them, and we will look at that before we go. But of course, a lot of the focus of attention is also on the upcoming World Cup in the summer in the USA. And before that, a whole bunch of World Cup playoff games are going to be played to finally to finally work out who's going to be in the finals come the summer. Iraq has made a formal request to have their World Cup playoff match postponed. It comes after they rejected a proposal from FIFA that the squad should make a 25-hour road journey to Turkey before flying to Mexico to fulfill the fixture. Iraq faces a World Cup playoff match against either Bolivia or Suriname in Monterrey on March the 31st. But all sorts of problems being faced by the Iraqis logistically. Around half of the Iraq squad are in Baghdad and they're unable to travel, while the head coach Graham Arnold is stuck in Dubai. Such are the problems coming from the problems thrown up by the ongoing conflict with Iran. Former Manchester United coach, now assistant manager for the Iraq national team, Rennie Mullenstein, joins us live. Rennie, good afternoon to you.
Hello, Jim. Good afternoon.
Good to speak to you. You're a man who's worn a few hats in his time since your time at Manchester United, and this is another. You're the assistant manager of the Iraq international squad. Of course, Graham Arnold, currently the man in charge. So what is the latest? I mean, what is the likelihood that you're going to be able to fulfill this playoff fixture?
Well, the situation is very uncertain, Jim. We obviously keep tabs every day if there's any developments. Graham will be speaking to members of the AFC and the FIFA on a regular basis. And as long as this uncertainty carries on, and you've already mentioned it in your intro, the biggest complication is that obviously the airspace around Iran and Iraq is shut. Therefore, the local players, we can't get out. And that was another, maybe a little bit of a miscalculation, of FIFA thinking that, all our players came from Iraq, but that's not the case. It's about a 50% split, 50% play in clubs abroad, some in other countries in the Middle East, but still quite a few in Europe as well. So, but the big problem is that the people that are in Iraq, that they are stuck at the moment.
Yeah, and are you and Graham in constant touch with those players who are indeed stuck in Iraq right now?
Yes, obviously. We need to know, obviously, we need to make sure that everybody obviously is safe and in these uncertain periods, because we talk about a football match, whereas this thing that's going on is by far bigger than anything else that we can comprehend. But yeah, it's not a good situation.
I mean, what was your reaction, Rennie, if I can ask you, when FIFA proposed that you and the squad make a 25-hour road journey to Turkey and then fly to Mexico?
Well, make that 35, Jim. And I know what the roads look like in Iraq. That is absolutely not done. Absolutely unacceptable. It just cannot be done. I think also, Jim, what people need to realize and understand, and I would love to get Simon's take on this, people do not understand that if we play the winner of Suriname-Bolivia, that will be our 21st World Cup qualifier. 21st. So I always say the World Cup is the highest platform that every athlete wants to perform at. And then the road towards that platform is completely different from Europe, where teams only have to play 6 to 8 World Cup qualifiers. And if they go in the playoff, maybe 10. It is something that is not easy, especially not for countries like Iraq, because they don't have a lot of money, and what it's cost, to fly all over Asia to play those games.
It's incredible. Simon's right beside me, Rennie. As Rennie says, there's 20.
Why so many? Just out of curiosity, because I'm not following it, Rennie. Why so many games? What is the necessity for so many games?
Well, to be fairly honest, Simon, I think it's just another money-making model for AFC. AFC could have easily looked at all the countries participating in the World Cup qualifiers, and then divided by the sort of top countries and the countries that can play a preliminary round. But that has not been done. So we ended up obviously in the first round of qualifiers, then in 3 groups of 6, of which we ended up in the playoffs again, which was a head scratcher again, because normally playoffs you would think are played on neutral ground or in home and away setup. But we had to play in Saudi with Indonesia, which Saudi give the home advantage. They played Indonesia first. We played them 3 days later, and then we played Indonesia of Saudi at the end. So Saudi had 5 days to recover to play the second game, and it cost Indonesia definitely. and it cost us at the end because we didn't qualify because of one goal. But these are things that are going on, which you sometimes scratch your head, because at the end of the day, I think FIFA stands for fair play, and I think they need to create a level playing field.
Rennie, do you worry that if FIFA reject your request to replay this game on your terms, that you may be asked to forfeit the tie and it's goodbye to the World Cup finals?
Well, that would be an absolute, disaster. I wouldn't name it, because disaster is what's happening now in the Middle East in terms of the war, but it would be a huge disappointment for all the people of Iraq that have been waiting 39 years. And it's a miracle already where we are at this moment, Jim, with the setup and the team and the things that we had to go through. So I think FIFA needs to do everything to make sure that that game is played, or like Graham says, maybe it's postponed until 7 to 10 days before the World Cup.
Rennie, it's my understanding, curiously, that you might get there anyway, because Iraq is seen as the most likely candidate to replace Iran should they, as maybe expected, have to withdraw from playing in the World Cup finals themselves. They're already there. But of course, there's huge doubt as to whether or not they'll get there.
Yes, that could happen. And then through the AFC, we are the highest ranked team, so we would then take Iran's place. And then UAE might step in to replace us to play the winner of Suriname against Bolivia. But there's also rumours that if the FIFA makes that final decision, they might push the highest ranked FIFA team to go to replace Iran, which is Italy. So you can think who would they rather have at the World Cup?
Absolutely. So they turn to Europe. Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
You have to sympathise with Rennie and the Iraqi players, Simon. After 21 matches in this campaign, they've got themselves a playoff, and now they're being asked to do a bunch of things, not least a 25-hour road trip.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask, what's the fallback position? Okay, I mean, ultimately, what you're saying is to push the game back as far as you possibly can to make sure that the stability in the region becomes more prevalent and people can travel easier. Are you saying that your suggestion, your perspective is, or the perspective of your FA, is that go as far away from the circumstances as now, even to be within 7 days of the tournament starting? Is that what your fallback position is?
Yes, that would be it, because it's very clear, Simon, that the airspace will be shut until the 1st of April. And our game is on the 31st of March. That's why Graham wants to buy time to making sure that we got April and May, and basically saying, listen, we then have got a little bit more time if we can get the players out to prepare. And if we do make it, we can stay there and participate in the World Cup. But I think the whole thing, Jim, throws so many other aspects of that needs to be looked at. Safety and security is one. And like I said, that those are all things that we cannot take lightly.
Absolutely. It must be hard, Rennie, keeping the Iraqi players' minds on football.
Well, absolutely, because obviously we do speak, and they are so desperate to go to the World Cup. But you never know how this incident or this war is going to escalate and how much Iraq is going to be drawn into it. And obviously the players will have to look after the families as well.
Rennie, it's always good to speak to you, and it's always good to speak to you wherever you find yourself working in the game, and you've had a few interesting engagements. I can't speak to you without throwing one to you about Manchester United. Michael Carrick has done so well in his time there, no doubt. You're asked this by any United fan who comes up and recognises you, you're instantly recognisable wearing your former Manchester United hat. What do you think is the likelihood that Michael gets it?
Well, it will be up for discussion, obviously, if the results keep coming. But you had the first spanner in the works against Newcastle, which I think he should, and probably he classed it as a disappointment, because if you go to 10 men with so many minutes to play and then lose the game at the end. And I did think it was not a surprise to what happened when he took over, because I said it even on another show of TalkSport, it doesn't take much to fix it. And Michael fixed a lot. You could see that in the early games. He got the responses, he got the performances, he placed players in the right positions. They've got a lot of threat going forward, and they have got no midweek games. So that result against Newcastle and the performance was a disappointment for me, but a surprise as well, because you have all the time now to nail those principles down. Now, what is the likelihood for Michael to get it? He has to keep winning games. He just needs to keep winning games, but also he needs to, keep improving those performances that people start to recognise. This looks more like a Manchester United team of old. That's what he needs to try to achieve.
Rennie, I want to thank you very much indeed for speaking. It amazes me. Thank you, Rennie, for joining us live in the show. It amazes me that Rennie, with all his experience and such a successful time at Manchester United, is not in the conversation to go back as first team coach.
Well, he's living a very varied life, isn't he? I mean, the interesting thing for the Iraq team is that they haven't ever qualified for a World Cup. They played in the '86 World Cup. So the fact they're in these new structures that are enabling them to potentially qualify is a positive. They've got to play 21 competitive games. Some would say, if you're an international manager, the more competitive games you play, the better your side's going to get. So I understand the amount of games they're about to play. The interesting thing will be for FIFA is how they have made a big play about increasing the World Cup to 48 teams to make sure that other regions are given opportunities to play and develop world football. Wenger talks about it in various things about how important it is. Yeah. So they really have got to work very hard to find a way to deny Iraq playing in this game, given the circumstances and geopolitics, and then shoehorning on the European side in like Italy. I understand why they might want to do it because of the commercial opportunity that Italy may present if it were Italy that were put into that position, as Rennie was alluding to. But really and truly, you'd have to hold FIFA's feet to the fire and say, well, hang on a second, there's no harm in delaying this game until the draw will be made. The team will be put. It'll either be Bolivia, Suriname, or Iraq that are going to play in this particular space in the World Cup. Why can't we leave it until the very last minute for the final team to be determined? It can't be that big a deal. I mean, it can be achieved. So it would be, I think, poor on FIFA's part to suggest that they cannot delay this given the circumstances and give them, enough runway, for want of a better expression, to be able to play this game and subsequently have a team playing from that region. Yeah. That hasn't played there before, only went there in '86 from a default position, didn't qualify, never won a game in the World Cup, never been there since. You either want to develop world football or you don't.
True. I mean, it's not FIFA. It's not FIFA's fault that certain countries' airspace is shut down.
No, but it's FIFA's. No, but hold on, that's not the point. FIFA's gift is, what do you need to have them? If you've got the tournament kicking off in June, and you've got playoffs now, and there's no harm. Ultimately, it's going to be one of these sides. You've drawn out who they're going to play against in the group stages, and so on and so forth. What is the factor that would stop you from giving them some ability to be able to play the game?
Sure. Okay. We will find out how it works out for Graham Arnold and Rennie Mullenstein and Iraq in the fullness of time. Coming up to 12:20 this Tuesday lunchtime.
Keep your calls coming in. 03 717 22 33 Let's finish them all up. Let's go to Kieran. He's a Spurs fan, right, Kier?
Right, Kay?
Yeah, mate. How you doing, guys?
Right, matey?
Just done, Kier. I'm done.
Sorry about it, mate. It's been one hell of a night. It has been awful. Truly, truly awful.
Would you send Igor back on Ryanair?
I wouldn't even give him that satisfaction, to be honest. I'd just find him the nearest cab and say, off you go, mate.
It's more expensive, isn't it? I don't know with Ryanair. Is it more expensive? Probably more comfortable in a
cab. Out of his
cab.
own pocket, to be honest. That's as far as I'm concerned. I really thought, after this season, Thomas Frank could probably go down as our worst ever manager, and yet here we are, 4 games into the Tudor reign, and somehow he's made it look worse.
Tudor reign? That was the time, actually. The old Tudors did reign England.
It's been the worst Tudor reign since the 1500s, I'm telling you. It's been awful.
Yeah.
He's the worst manager we've ever had. He's awful.
Yeah.
He's so bad. He hasn't got a clue. I don't know what he's doing.
I've seen some awful managers in my time. This guy just...
He shouldn't be anywhere near the players, Kier. That is like...
That's it. Is his job done? It's over.
From the moment on,
I
he shouldn't be anywhere near the players.
I completely agree. I mean, I watched it tonight, and I mean, obviously, it all fell apart. It was like Bambi on ice for that first 20 minutes
Yeah,
or
it was,
so.
wasn't
But, I mean...
What was going on, by the way? Though we already spoke about that. It wasn't just one. It was all of them at it.
No, it was obviously something...
Have they not been out there? So the warm-up is part of your... What's the pitch like? What studs you need? That's part of it.
Yeah.
What's the pitch like? What footwear do you need? What's going on?
I mean, I don't know. My only thing I can say is that Atletico Madrid are used to playing on that pitch.
Well...
Obviously, the Spurs players, were just all over the place.
Yeah, they played in rain before, though, weren't they?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what footwear they had. It's hard to say. Did they have studs on? Did they have moulds? I don't know. Sometimes you go out on it's a beautiful pitch, right? So you go out and you want to wear moulds. But every player wants to wear moulds. No one really loves wearing studs.
I used to love wearing studs.
Yeah,
mate.
but you're old school. But like the modern day player.
Why do you want to wear studs? Mate, you'll be one of them slipping over.
Oh, I would have. No, yeah.
Slipping over.
Listen, I always loved wearing moulds. I wanted to wear moulds.
Why?
Because you felt like you had a better feel of the ball, and it just, I don't know, it just.
No studs, mate.
But I don't know what footwear they had on. I don't know.
Trainers, roller skates.
They had ice skates on. Yeah, I mean it was embarrassing. I couldn't believe how bad it was. But it was ridiculous how many of them were slipping over. But I don't know. Look,
they're all at it. The goalkeeper, Mickey. What's Mickey? What's Big Mickey up to, mate?
Just watching the Kinski goal again. The third goal. What?
And he gets pulled off. Igor pulled him off.
He had to.
We don't want to get pulled off.
Where do we go from here? What manager did you bring in? Who did you go with?
I mean, I was saying to my mates earlier, I was like, there's got to be a clause in there somewhere. For me, if I was in charge, I would generally do whatever we could to bring Poch back now. I think it's going to happen in the summer regardless.
Bring him back now? What kind of world do you lot live in? Seriously. So Jay and I were chatting about this in the break, okay? So whoever's out there, right, and I don't know who this man is, but his agent must be licking his lips. Because if I was the agent, I would be saying something like this. I want somewhere about 6 to 7 million to keep Spurs in the Premier League as a bonus. And if Spurs stay up, let me tell you, every single penny will be worth it. His wages will be huge.
100%.
So just give him that £7 million bonus to keep you up.
I don't know who that manager is, but because we were saying, Keir, right? We were saying, who wants this job? Like, no one wants this job. Pochettino. So the only way you can get a manager to want this job right now, in this moment, is to offer him something ridiculous.
The thing is, right, I think the way we've been for the last 2 years, because it's not even just this year, it's last year as well, and it's the fallout from last year. Like, yeah, we had that great Europa League run. It was brilliant. But we also we were a complete shadow of ourselves from the years before, and it's carried on into this year. I mean, I saw something, we had 44 losses in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And we're meant to be this, I wouldn't even say massive club anymore, but like, we're just a shambles. And quite frankly, the more it goes on, the more we embarrass ourselves. So who's going to look at us and go, yeah, I can do that, I can fix that. Not all the money in the world can convince most top managers to, even come within a sniff of us. That's the problem. And the only reason I say Poch is because he loves us for whatever reason. And
no, but he's got a World Cup coming up.
He's
not. That's just not possible. I think you've got to be realistic here. So who's available to the Premier League? Is Sean Dyche ridiculous? Is he ridiculous? I don't think he is. I'm starting to think that's...
Gets us 4 wins or even like 2 wins and keeps us up. I'd shake his hand. Cheers for that. Cheers for keeping us up.
Honestly, he's available.
Whoever the guy is, right, Keir, whoever it is, it's got to be someone who is able to rally this team in some fashion. And he's got to have a quick mindset.
Speak their language. He needs to speak their language.
He does. He needs to speak their language. I don't know who that guy is, but they've got to get someone in there who's going to actually help these players and actually pick them up off the floor. Because for me, it just looks like this manager is not interested in picking them up on the floor. He just keeps digging them out, keeps putting them out there with like embarrassing structure. So there has to be someone out there who is able to get this club off the floor or get these players to perform. Yeah. And I don't know who that is.
If you heard that Sean Dyche has been announced this time tomorrow, how would you feel?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Because you think about, and this is genuine, you think about who he is, right? He's a pragmatic manager. You need results. Okay, things haven't worked out for him of late, but where you're at right now, he's available. And he's that kind of guy you need. I don't know whether you've got the squad for the fight. Sean Dyche has got the stomach for the fight. I know that.
Really perform at Nottingham Forest, like.
No, I know, and it's not. I'm not saying
like Nottingham Forest are below us.
Right, I know that, but you've got a better squad than Forest. Will we agree on that? Oh, actually, I don't know that.
No, I don't think we have. Don't think we have.
Why didn't you sign Gibbs White? Why didn't you sign him?
Let's go to Matt, who's a Spurs fan. Matt.
Right, Matt.
Hi guys, how we doing?
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Well, result aside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been thinking. I'm with Jamie. I think Tudor needs to go, and I think it can't.
Well, he's going to go, right? Look, let's be brutally honest here.
Yeah.
He is not going to be in charge this time tomorrow. He's not. He's not.
Well, yeah.
I don't see a world in which he's in charge. I just can't.
But the question is who we get
Well,
in.
I think I've got
the solution, guys.
That's the bigger question. Well, Sean Dyche, would you take Dyche?
I don't think he'll come. I don't think he'd want to risk taking a big club down like Spurs.
What do you mean? It depends on the bonus. I mean, if you offer him
that side of it better than me. But
well,
what
I don't know.
know,
I mean, money talks.
Jason, it is what I think. Right? I think the club needs a big lift. It needs someone to come in who's going to get the atmosphere going.
Right.
Needs to get a bit of a club legend in. So I'm thinking someone who's
Who is that club legend then?
Someone who's got over 250 league appearances.
Go on.
Someone who's completed a relegation great escape manager of Macclesfield in 2019. None other than Sol Campbell.
Get him.
Oh, he ticks a lot of boxes. Oh, no, Sol ticks. What do you mean? Why are you making a noise like that?
Well, we've got back pages coming up next.
Jay?
Well, it took 3 first-half goals for Real Madrid to get the job done against Manchester City at the Bernabeu. Still a second leg to go, of course, in Manchester, but it's still a significant first-leg lead for Manchester City. Micah Richards has lost all of his mojo. He's unrecognisable at this point. How do you feel, Micah?
I'm devastated. And you know why? It's because in the first half, Man City had some chances. They looked really confident. They had a lot of the possession, but you didn't take a chance, and then Real Madrid punish you. And that man on the screen there was absolutely outstanding. Not just his goals, but his defensive work as well. I thought he helped Trent out down that right-hand side. Really good. But all in all, it's about moments, isn't it? Real Madrid took their moments, Man City didn't. Now they've got a huge mountain to climb. But like I said before, 3-0, it's not over.
As we all know, I'm very Barca. Played
Sorry.
there. I'm very Barcelona.
Yeah.
Or, as you say, Barcelona. I don't know why, but it's Barcelona. But you have to give Madrid a lot of credit. You have to give the credit. Nobody saw that coming. And nobody saw Valverde scoring a hat-trick. Anyone that said that Valverde was going to score a hat-trick is a liar. So, but I want to talk about the team effort that they had today. That's how you win games. Everybody was defending for everybody. And Valverde will get his reward because he's been a great servant for the club, and scoring 3 goals for him doesn't happen, or never happen, actually. So you have to give them credit. But I want to talk about, I don't know how to say his name, Pitarch, because I watched it closely tonight. What a game he had. He was running for everybody. And I don't know what they put in that shirt. I don't know what they put in that jersey. I really don't. It's obviously a joke what I'm going to say because I don't want to wear that jersey. But maybe if I put it on, it might help me to get my hair back. They put something in it. When they play in the Champions League, I don't know what it is. When they put that shirt, I said at the beginning of the game that it's a heavy shirt, and then you have to battle against team that won in that competition. It's not easy. It's heavy. But in the Champions League, yes, it is heavy. I know it's a heavy shirt, but I don't know why when they put it on, it looks like players are different. It is different. And so you have to give them that credit because that's the team right now in the first leg where I didn't expect that from Real Madrid. So as much as it pains me to say, well done.
Hi, welcome back. Welcome to London. It is so good to have you with us. What?
On what? Which channel?
We're on CBS Sports Network, probably, and Paramount Plus for sure. Yes, there we go. Got it right. It's been a strange couple of days in the Champions League. Not a great couple of days for the Premier League sides. 4 losses, 2 draws in their round of 16 fixtures. And as far as the top 8 goes, those top 8 teams that finished
in the top 8.
In the top 8. I was going to say finished in the positions that allowed them to bypass the round of 16, if you'd let me finish. But anyways, only one of those teams won, which was?
Who? Who won?
Yeah. Finished in the top 8 and won.
Oh.
In the round of 16, only one of those teams.
Oh, sorry, I didn't Galatasaray. No.
No, didn't finish in the top 8.
I know, there's a guess.
No, it was wrong. Bayern Munich.
Give me Bayern!
Okay, sorry.
Jeez.
I should have given you more time for Matt to jump in your ear. Real Madrid against Manchester City, 3-0 the final score.
Well, don't let me take the goals. Let them take the goals, man.
Analyse your team.
Yesterday, we gave it to...
I'm not
was where it went wrong.
You know what? Give me the goals. Kylie, roll red, please. Let's talk about Valverde because he was excellent all night. Very clever, has a little look, and then tucks it away. And it was a sensational performance from him, in all fairness.
I mean, what a player he is. He can play him in any position, does a brilliant job. And here, as I said, he makes that run. Very Freddie Lundberg-like.
Yes!
You know, time in your team as well. But then, is this the best goal for us?
What a finish.
This team are just a different animal, aren't they, in the Champions League? It's just... Every season I make the same mistake of writing them off. I'm just not impressed with them. But you know what's interesting? I was just thinking about it. We don't know for certain that it might be Pep's last season at Manchester City, and it's going to be tough to overturn that. And that would mean how long's he been there? 9 years, 10 years?
9, 10 years, yeah.
Won Champions League, and I think they'd be disappointed with that. I think when you bring Pep Guardiola in, and you think you're going to have him for 10 years, I think you'd be disappointed with only one Champions League. But what's funny? At Manchester City, they've had some really bad defeats in the Champions League. You know, almost not to teams they shouldn't lose to. Even on this show, was it Lyon? I think the first time we did this show. I think Monaco early on, losing to Chelsea in a final. Chelsea are a good team, obviously, but they weren't as good as City.
This Madrid comeback. Do you remember when there was comeback?
He's had some really bad defeats in the Champions League, and this I think is up there with some of them I mentioned, because that is not a great Madrid team. I mean. Early on in the game, we thought that was going to be a couple of goals for City. I mean, it was so easy for Manchester City in that game, but to lose so badly, and it could have been more. Could have been 4-0. That's a real... He's had some bad ones with Manchester City in the Champions League, and that's right up there with some of the others.
Well, Guillaume Balaguer was over at the game in Madrid for us tonight. He's spoken to Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Football. What a wonderful thing.
Yeah, you know, I think not many people expected this result tonight. There was a lot of noise around it because of the way we played recently and the results we've been having recently. But at the end of the day, we're Real Madrid. We believe in ourselves, and you know, the special nights that happen here. And I've been fortunate enough to play for two clubs who are renowned for very special nights in their home stadium. And tonight I experienced another one. Very difficult game, of course. Man City, they're always in and around it. Always will be as well. So, you know, tough draw. And I think when everybody seen the draw, they thought, you know, yeah, automatically City all through, or you know, eventually. But no, we've created a good advantage for ourselves to go to the Etihad.
Well, it helps to have Van Basten and Bergkamp and Del Piero playing for you, otherwise named Valverde.
Honestly, I sang his praise a few weeks ago, but again, running out of words to describe him. I think he's the most underrated footballer on the planet and has been for years. I think even when I wasn't here, I've admired his game so much because there's no flaw in it. There's nothing he can't do. The energy and what he brings to the team is absolutely immense, and he never moans. He gets on with the game and pushes himself to the limit, game in, game out, and you know, it's an incredible trait to have. And you know, whether people agree or not, he's definitely in the top tier of midfielders on the planet and has been for years.
Help me understand the first 45 minutes.
It's difficult. I would have to watch the game to give you a good answer, but my feeling on the pitch was that we actually started well the game. The first, I would say, 10 to 15 minutes. We were controlling the transitions. We were putting them on their final third, and it looked like we were doing well until in a long ball they scored the first goal, and in a moment where we should have calmed things down, we emotionally we lost completely the control of the game. And when that happens in this stadium, in this competition, you pay a big price, especially with the quality of the players that Madrid has today, especially Fede Valverde. And yeah, I would say that we didn't control ourselves emotionally in a proper way that this competition deserves, and you pay the price.
That's a very honest assessment. Real Madrid, they are outliers, aren't they? You could prepare against them, but all of a sudden, Valverde scores his first hat-trick of his career, and then what do you do? How do you stop that?
I would say that not just Real Madrid, but this competition in general, it's a special competition. It's a competition where sometimes you don't need to play very well to win. A lot of things matter: the character, the personality, the dealing with your emotions and being with your head in the right place. Knowing that you're gonna have bad moments as well, how you deal with those moments, and we weren't able to do that today. And as I said, when you play in this stadium, when you play against players with the quality that they have, you pay the price.
Why always to City though? Why always to do it City?
Well, have you given up now, Micah? Have you lost hope? Is it over for you, that tie?
No, it's not over yet. If City get an early goal, the only thing is, I think Real Madrid probably score the Etihad. I think City is going to have to score 4 or 5 goals.
It's not going to be easy, but teams have come back from 3-0 down, haven't they, in Champions League before?
They have.
Well,
4 of them, in fact.
Only 4 times. You were one of them.
I'm thinking of the final.
10th all-time Premier League goal scorer, one of the game's great finishers, Jermaine Defoe. Good morning to you, Jermaine.
Morning, guys.
Jermaine.
Morning, Gav.
Jay,
morning,
good
boss.
morning.
Morning, bossy. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. All good.
Why are you not here, Jermaine? I thought you would be with us today in the box, smelling amazing.
I might have to come down actually. Looks like it's going to be fun. Nice day for it.
Yeah, great day.
Jump on the headache up there, you'll be fine, mate.
He's not a racing man, I don't think, is he?
Oh,
I'm not. The boss knows I'm not really, and he's getting involved in it though.
Yeah.
Saying all the right
He's
things.
well behaved, didn't come on a Tuesday when he was in on the Wednesday.
No.
Yeah, he was definitely there on a Tuesday.
We're the lads here. All got the helicopter here, didn't they?
Did they?
Tottenham, yeah. Yeah.
That was Rob,
Jermaine,
that
it's
was
good to have you on with us. Let's get your thoughts now on your former club. Shall we start with Spurs? It's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's been a hard watch all season. To be honest, I think especially the other night I watched the game and yeah, it was just I think the manager's come in and he's in, especially in that game, he's decided to start a young goalkeeper in Kingsley, and I think I was surprised when he took him off. To be honest, I think when you have a young goalkeeper and you make that decision in such a game of that magnitude to start him, I think you've got to stay with him. I think what a young goalkeeper can gain from that sort of experience, even though it weren't going well when he made the 2 big mistakes, but I think you've got to stay with him, and the fact that the manager decided to take him off and not really acknowledge him when he come off, it's I just think that human side, I think you've got to manage that situation in the right way. It doesn't look good. I think try and get through half time and allow the senior players to get around him and help him in the second half, but to drag him off after the 2 mistakes, it was hard for me to see that, to be honest.
Jermaine, you know what shocks me as well? Is Spurs' record at the new stadium. I mean, yourself playing under Harry and so successful. I mean, I used to hate going to White Hart Lane to play. You always knew you were going to get in for a tough game. But the players should embrace playing at home. Like one of the best stadiums in the world. Pitch is perfect. Why is it so hard for these players to put in a performance at home?
Yeah, but sometimes, when you finish playing and from the outside, you look at it and everyone's got their opinions and it's easy to sit there and say. But I remember we went back there, we played in a Legends game against AC Milan last season. And all the ex-boys met up and it was nice to see everyone. I remember we walked in and all the players were like, wow, imagine playing there every week. It's a special stadium. I mean, if you talk about that, the infrastructure, what Daniel's sort of like done in terms of the training ground and the stadium, he wanted the best in class. He wanted the best coaches in the academy. He tried all the best managers and, the stadium, and give these players sort of like a platform to go out and produce. And for whatever reason, it's just not happened. I think maybe opposition, they look forward to coming to the new stadium. They probably come to the new stadium and be like, wow, the away dressing room's probably better than a lot of the home dressing rooms at their own stadium. So I suppose these players probably go there and look forward to playing it and look forward to playing against a team that's not performing, And can they handle that sort of pressure at the football club? That's always been there, even before my time and the boss's time at the football club. There's always been like a pressure and a demand to play the right way at Tottenham, to win games in style. And like you mentioned before, at White Hart Lane, the old stadium, we always fancied ourselves. If we concede 4, we score 5. That's how we approach games.
Yeah, I mean, it has been it's been 2 years now. Last season was the same, wasn't it? His last season finishing, what they finished last year, 17th, was it? Or this year again. I mean, I couldn't see this coming this year. I felt they'd be certainly pushing for a top 5, top 6 at the worst way position in the league. You know, it has been a major disappointment what they've done, and they've had a million injuries for sure, and it certainly hasn't helped any. I mean, lots of their better players, but they've still had a strong enough squad. And when you look at the team every week, you think, well, it's still a decent team. They shouldn't keep getting beat, and the results have been shocking, really. And I agree with you. The other night was a disaster. I mean, I felt sorry for the goalkeeper. I mean, it was. I think if you're going to pick him, you took the gamble, and if he's not coming off, you can't be doing really to drag him off so early in the game. I think is very, very difficult. You know.
Yeah, I think everybody just felt sorry for him. Jermaine, just quickly, I mean, you were a coach there at Spurs till 2024. These incredible facilities, Gabby mentioned the stadium. What's going on with the injuries? How are they getting that so wrong?
It's a good question. Because you look at even my time at Tottenham, I can't remember there being any situation where you have that many injuries, especially key players. You talk about starters, players that was the starting 11, and it happened last season as well. Of course the other teams have had injuries, but even what the boss just said there, I still look at. I've watched a lot of the games, and on paper I look at the teams that we've put out, and I still fancy ourselves to win games or at least get results out of certain games. But again, that's not happened for whatever reason. But that is something that they're going to have to try and address for next season, because I don't understand how you have that many injuries for 2 seasons running. Like it's so bizarre.
But when you look at the problems at Spurs now, and you look at, Igor Tudor has been in 4 games, 14 goals conceded, 4 defeats. Jay, do you look at the change needs to be made now? Because this is no joke now. West Ham and Nottingham Forest playing really good football. The pressure's on now. And the run of games that Spurs have got, there's a big chance of them going down, Jermaine.
Yeah, it's a massive chance. And I think now all of a sudden the players have to understand that it's the reality. I think when I look at the other teams, when I look at Forest, I see a team that's fighting. They've got match winners, and a team that's sort of like got that sort of, they've experienced this before. I look at West Ham again. A team that's fighting, a team that's got match winners. I mean, that young Somerville, love watching him play. But it's when I look at the performances, not so much the results. When I look at the performances, because when you perform well, eventually, Gabs, you get results. And even Leeds. I look at some of the Leeds performances, and so those 3 teams are actually playing well. And I look at Tottenham, and at the minute, we don't even look like winning any football match. I watched the game against Fulham away. The manager came out and he alluded to, some of the referee's decisions. But I thought, you know what? The fact is, in that game, we didn't even look like winning. Fulham should have scored 4. Fulham should have scored 4. So it's week after week conceding too many goals, and not really having a style in terms of how we play and how we're gonna affect games and score goals or get our match winners to try and perform.
Before we carry on, we've got to ask you about your current situation in your career. You left coaching Tottenham back in 2024. Where's your focus just now?
I don't know if I'm doing a lot of the media bits at the minute, which I'm enjoying, talking about football. I think for me, nothing's really changed. I think the priority for me is probably, wanting to manage at some point. Understand it's got to be the right club, go into the right environment. I enjoyed my time at Tottenham in the 2 years in the academy. After the 2 years, obviously I was with the under-18s and, dipped in with the 21s. Had some great people around me, Paul Bracewell, Bradley Allen, Wayne Burnett, Nigel Gibbo, Stuart Lewis. I enjoyed it. I wanted to, do my badges and complete them. I actually started it when I was at Rangers and obviously went into Tottenham and completed it. And in the second year, I wanted to dip in with the first team. I remember having a meeting with Scott Munn and a few others at Tottenham, and that opportunity weren't there. I was disappointed by that, to be honest. I wanted to be exposed to that sort of like first team environment, and that sort of like that opportunity weren't there. But I'm glad that I did the academy, because to be exposed to that sort of like just being on the grass and coaching and making your mistakes when there's no cameras there. I felt like I needed that.
That baffles me though, Jermaine, to hear that, because we were just saying off air, of how good of a striker you was and how you helped Harry Kane with your finishing you used to after training. And I hate playing against you in my teams. I know the goalkeepers did, because left foot, right foot, you know.
Yeah.
Goal from you. Very, very shocked to hear that, because you've got so much to offer in the game. Definitely for strikers, especially, to learn from you.
Yeah, I mean, Gabs, I spent a lot of time with, excuse me, I spent a lot of time with obviously Mikey Moore, just speaking about that sort of like the repetition and that, and the importance of like practicing after training. I mean, the boss can tell you, even when I was 16-year-old at West Ham, you know, I was one of the last off the training pitch. You know, I remember on a Thursday, we used to have to go to college on a Thursday with academy players. And I just sort of like, not bunk off, but I decided to go into training and just stand and be about, you know, when the first team were going out for training, and the manager would just say to me, you know, you train with us. That's how much I wanted to sort of like be involved in it. And yeah, like I said, you know, the young players at Tottenham in the academy, you know, I spent a lot of time with them finishing and just trying to be that sort of like mentor. And that's all I wanted to do, Gabs, in terms of the first team. I wanted to sort of like go in and just try and, if I can, you know, just be around it and just try and help the centre forwards. And for me, it would have been good, like I said, to be in that first team environment. So I have to be honest, I was really disappointed when I didn't really get that opportunity to do that. But like I said, I mean, still the priority is to obviously still be involved in football.
But that's where it's all changed, Jermaine, hasn't it? Back in the day, when you were talking, we all used to train at the same training ground. Now you've got academies, you know, super duper. The youth team are there. They never see the first team. The first team manager probably don't even know the kids at the football club. They don't never see them. Whereas we used to have, but the first team would be on one pitch, the reserves would be there, the youth team there, and we'd all have dinner together. And every day you knew everybody, and the first team would be around the kids, and the kids could talk to the first team players. The time that you spent with Harry Kane at Tottenham after training. Harry would come over, he'd finish training with the youth team, he'd come over with you, and you'd spend an hour with him doing some finishing. But that's how it was. And the manager, as a manager, which I was obviously, you knew every kid. But now it's become, the youth team the manager has no input or interest, to be truthful, in the youth teams. The youth team trained somewhere else. How often did you get to go over and get involved with? Now, if I was a manager of Tottenham and I've got strikers, the first thing I'd do is bring you over. I say, hey, come over, come and work with these. I got Portsmouth, and I signed Yakubu. First thing I did, I brought Luther Blissett in, back from his day. It was, you know, Luther he'd retired. I brought him in a couple of days a week, come in and work with Yak, spend an hour every day with him just on finishing, you know, technique and whatever. And that's surely Tottenham.
Priceless.
What a waste of a talent not to have you over there with the first team. Hey, take them strikers. I went back to Tottenham. The first people I brought back in was Les Ferdinand, Tim Sherwood. Come and work with the kids. Come and work with the kids every day. You know, you're part of the history of the football club. You're Tottenham. You've been here. You've played here. Go and work, Les Ferdinand. Go and work with the young kids. But it doesn't happen anymore. It's sad, and that's a big problem.
I think, Gabs, just to tell you that, I remember, obviously, like the boss said, I remember Les coming over, and obviously Tim and that, and like, it was, for me, it was amazing. I mean, I finished in training, and I'm doing finishing with Les Ferdinand and Clive Allen, you know, two players that have been there, been in the arena,
Clive,
you know, got that experience. Listen, I'm not saying that you have to play that at the top level to coach and to get a tune out of some players and that, but for me at Tottenham at the time, where I was an experienced player at the time, playing for England and that, but still to have someone there like Les Ferdinand and Clive Allen, you know, it was massive for me. And you don't get that.
Without talking about people like Joe Jordan. I mean, Joe was no mean striker either in his day, was he? You know, but we had football people. You surrounded yourself with football people. Kevin Bond was great for me. Football people who knew the club and understood the running of Tottenham, the history of the club. And I think that is important. I think that's gone. We keep bringing in more and more foreign managers who come in. They don't know the history of the club. They've probably got no interest in the youth team because they're thinking, well, I'm not going to... Why am I interested in them young kids, 14, 15? I'm not going to be here in 6 years' time. Yeah. I'm not going to go over and watch them train. Whereas back in what you did every day, you watched the kids. You went to every youth game Ron Greenwood, when I grew up at West Ham, he went to every single youth game. He'd travel everywhere watching the kids. And I was the same when you played in the youth team, Joe. I'd be there every Saturday morning watching you, watching Frank, Rio, Joe, all them, Michael Carrick, Glenn Johnson, watching all you kids play. It doesn't happen anymore.
Sorry, go on.
Oh no! What I was going to say is, I mean, you can imagine, Gabs, like when I signed for West Ham when I was 16, and like the boss you just said there, I remember looking over, at Chadwell Heath, and and you got the manager of the football club standing there watching the first half of the game before he goes to Upton Park to be with the first team. And the parents
every
seeing
Saturday,
that. Every Saturday, what that does to a 16-year-old, it was amazing. I just don't think you get that now. The importance of having the academy and the manager of the football club showing an interest. Sir Alex Ferguson did the same thing. Sir Alex Ferguson knew every
Alex
player.
was the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd go to Old Trafford and I'd have a cup of tea with Alex in his office before the game, and he'd tell me about Ravel Morrison. We've got a 12-year-old kid here, Ravel Morrison. Genius. He's wayward. And he would talk about, I'd say, well, I've got Joe Cole and whatever. And then he goes and tries to nick Joe off me, Alex. Next thing, he's sending Joe a shirt, number 10. Joe, this is your shirt when you play for Man United. And he's got Joe on the coach taking him to the cup final, But Alex was, every youth game he would be at. He knew every kid at the football club. And that was great last week. I hear that Michael Carrick and his staff were at the youth game watching the Man United youth team. They should be there. That is the future of your football club. Go and watch them kids. You want to produce. There's nothing like producing kids out the youth team like you did, Gabby, back in the day.
But it's training as well. I used to love being in the academy and training on the pitch next to the first team. Because you're training so hard, aren't you, Jermaine? Thinking like, one of the coaches looks over and sees me. I might get in with the first team.
Yeah.
But Gabs,
Jermaine, we laugh. I loaned him out. I loaned him out to Bournemouth. That was your first move, Jay, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I get a phone call from Mel Major, the manager at Bournemouth, and rings me up in the bottom of the league. And Mel and Sean O'Driscoll were there, and he said, Harry, we're struggling. He said, we're going to get relegated. We can't score a goal. He said, we need a striker. Have you got anybody at West Ham, He said, we've only got one loan left, so we can't make a mistake. It's our last throw of the dice. He said, I said, I've got a kid here you can have. He said, no, we don't need a kid. It's like, he said, this league, it's a tough league. I said, well, he's a good kid, he's a bit different. He said, how old is he? I said, well, he's 17, He said, how big is he? I said, he's about 5'6". He went, you're having a laugh, Harry, aren't you? He said, the one thing I don't need is a 17-year-old 5'6" striker. I said, yeah, but he ain't normal. I said, I'm telling you, he's a bit different. I said, I'll tell you what to do. Take him. Don't use your loan. I'll tell him, I said, he's a great lad. He's coming down for a few days just to something different to train with you. If you don't want him and want to use your loan, he'll come back. It's not a problem. He's going to be in my first team in a few months anyway. So Mel takes him. First morning, he rings me. My phone keeps going after training. Harry, can we have him for the season? He said we had a practice match this morning. I think he scored about 5 goals. And then he went and played there. And his first 10 games, 10 consecutive games, he scored. Broke the record.
There you go, Jermaine. It's nice to be called different, isn't it? Listen, Jermaine, just while we've got you, because I know we're going to have to let you run. If Spurs do go down, would you want to be there and help them rebuild and go back up again? Would you want to be part of that project?
100%, obviously, with the boss. But I mean, of course.
I'll take him in. He's my first signing. I don't hold your breath waiting for it to happen, Jay.
I know.
Because I don't think I will get the phone call. But if I did, I'd bring him back.
O'Hara's
for sure.
fuming. O'Hara's absolutely fuming, Harry.
Jamie can be involved. Jamie can be involved.
We'll bring Jamie back with a bit of comedy.
Water boy.
yeah, of course.
Jermaine, thank you so much for your time today. It's been brilliant to have you. I wish you were here with us. Just very quickly, what do you think is going to happen next? And if Daniel Levy was still at Spurs, do you think they would be in this mess now?
Listen, I just feel like I think a lot of times, you it's funny how you appreciate people for what they've done when they're not there anymore. He done an amazing job. I know there was a lot of noise around Daniel when he was there, and he's not there anymore. And people sort of like, I bump into Spurs fans all the time, and they say, if Daniel was there, we won't be in this mess. But it's the reality, and I just hope that these group of players now find something within them to get out of it. And for me, it's not even about performances. It's just results. It's just winning football matches and that. But it is going to be tough because, like I mentioned before, the other teams in and around it are playing well.
Yeah. All right, Jermaine Defoe.
Legend, mate.
Legend. Good to
Good
speak
cheers,
to you.
guys.
Thanks for your time.
Cheers, boss. Cheers, everyone. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Cheers.
Fire up the private jet. Come and join us.
On West Ham through last night, but a bit of concerning news maybe about Crescencio Somerville having a scan today. So they need all the top players in the squad available at this particular time, Simon. And maybe he's not going to be available. Alex Crook will join us later on this morning to put us right on that. And to put us right on this, Mike Ashley's bid for Sheffield Wednesday, as we understand it, rejected. So does that come as any surprise, Simon? And would you expect Ashley, without closely second guessing it, to go back in?
I think Mike will buy a football club the way precisely that Mike wants to buy it. And I think that's exactly the right way to do it. I mean, he's a sort of merchant. There's a few people who do the business that way, and I think it's the right way, which is I'll put a fiver, metaphorically, I'll put a fiver on the table, call me if you need me, rather than let me get into a bidding. Well, look how the last one worked out. You got into a bidding war. You got the administrator being able to court different people suggesting they'll all pay different prices. They got an absurd bid for 50 million quid, which couldn't be completed. Now, of course, they had the wonderful opportunity of taking 10% deposit out of it, which gave them the funding mechanism. But Mike Ashley will do it the way he wants to do it, and that's exactly how a purchaser should do it. They shouldn't be hurried along, or cajoled, or beaten into a corner, or put into a Dutch auction, or put an auction with a bidding against themselves.
I get that, but is it not becoming the modern day tyre kicker?
Not at all.
Is he not? He's almost around, but then, well, he's constantly linked with takeovers of certain clubs, and then it doesn't happen.
Well, a tyre kicker is someone that has no intention of doing it. That's a completely different dynamic. He has every intention of doing it on his own terms.
Right.
And that's exactly how we should do it. That's exactly how a football club should be bought. That's exactly how a business should be bought, especially a distressed asset that's got a whole raft of problems, that have got a whole raft of challenges that are in need. Now, if the administrator is in the wonderful position to be able to reject bids. Now, that may well be because Mike's position is, I want the administration to do something he doesn't think he can do. It might be because Mike Ashley has taken up the cudgel that I've been swinging for some time, which is, how about you lot stop being so bloody stupid and demanding that the previous owner gets paid 25p in the pound for the car crash that he's created. By all means, pay the trade creditors 25p in the pound, the poor businesses that put goods in there that are unsecured creditors and should get paid. But not the fella that created the car crash. That's a ridiculous, absurd rule, built out of bad thinking and small-minded people that go, well, why should they get a head start? Well, they're not getting a head start. They're in administration. They've lost everything. They've got nothing left. They've got no playing squad. They're going to have to spend a load of money to rebuild themselves to any kind of level, so they're not going to get any advantage over you guys. So probably what Mike has done is gone, I want you guys to push the EFL and to tell the EFL, this is not a rule, it's guidance.
Okay.
The EFL, you can do something different. Or whether it's the IFR, the Independent Financial Regulators got involved. But to classify Ashley as a tyre kicker is just a narrative that's seeded based upon the fact that people index him. This idea that if you don't read the newspapers, you're uninformed. If you do read them, you're misinformed. It's about being first rather than right. They index Mike Ashley to certain things, not necessarily because Mike indexes himself to it, because they might do. But the fact is, if he wants to do a deal, he can do it, but he'll say very clearly, this is what I will do, and I won't do any more than that. And there's something to be said for that way of doing business, because you know exactly where you stand.
Yeah.
As opposed to this other clown college, these crypto clowns that walked in there, spent £4 million of somebody else's money, I suspect, to come out the door having consumed 3 or 4 months of the administrator's time.
But Chansiri has made it known that everybody should know exactly where he stands.
Yeah, out of the door.
And it's not going to be that simple if you want to just come in, take over the club and move on.
Yeah,
no, he wants something.
Well, that's up to Chansiri to find his way through that. That's not Mike Ashley's problem.
No.
Chansiri is out the door. He has no control, no jurisdiction whatsoever. He's not a secured creditor. The only thing that's holding Chansiri's pants up in this situation is the ruling or the guidance that the EFL put in place. And if the EFL and the administrator grow a pair and turn around to Chansiri and his little sidekick Nick DeMarco and say, pack it in, you're not getting anything, Let's see how it plays out. They won't, because it's hard yards, and they won't because they'll be aided and betted by the small-minded people in League One and League Two that go, well, hang on a second, we're going to be disadvantaged if this club come down, they don't get a 15-point penalty because they didn't pay their debts.
Anyway.
Irrespective of the fact that the club will be in absolute chaos, have no playing squad, have no investment in it for years and years, and will be in a decaying state anyway. None of that will be factored into it.
Yeah.
And the football world will go, we'd rather pay this idiot over here that made an absolute car crash of this great football club, we'd rather have you pay him 15, 20 million quid than invest it in the football club, which is the asset that goes forward.
Yeah, I tell you
Makes
what,
some sense.
I just want it known for the listeners
Anyway.
who's watching on YouTube, this is the first time I actually speak to Simon. Like 10 o'clock on the dot, in he comes. You're like a whirling dervish. I'm exhausted already, and it's 11 minutes past 10. Simon, so much to get through this morning. We will get back to the Mike Ashley situation, but as it stands, his bid for Sheffield Wednesday rejected. Alex Crook will have more, but you heard from Simon there, and we'll hear from Alex Crook later on this morning. Simon, West Ham beat Brentford on penalties. Through they go in the FA Cup. Leeds for them next. Is the Hammers momentum train showing no signs of stopping? I mean, it's a different competition, yes, but does it send another signal of intent to their relegation rivals Forest and Spurs? Hey, you lot, we're alive and well, and we're cooking at the moment.
Well, if they cook some gas against Man City and Aston Villa, then they can send a message to their relegation rivals. Tottenham and Nottingham Forest are still in control of their own destiny. They can't be really worried about what West Ham are doing, and if they are, then they're not taking care of their own business. Nothing that West Ham can do is going to make any difference to Tottenham and Nottingham Forest if they do their jobs. So there's nothing that they need to worry about with West Ham because they can't affect what's happening with West Ham. Fantastic for West Ham. They've got a good result. They've had great results recently. And some of those results that they've been able to get in there, they've gotten beaten by Liverpool recently.
Yeah.
They got beaten by Chelsea when they were 2-0 up. And so they've had results against the top sides that are adverse. But the sides around them, the Sunderland result, the Bournemouth draw, the Man United draws, they're good results. They're good outcomes for them, but they've still got a lot of yards to cover, and it's still in the other team's hands. And if they come out of these next two games against Man City and against who else are they playing? They've got two big games, Aston Villa. If they come out of those two games with Villa recovering their poise, then the other teams pick up 3 points. We'll be singing a different song then.
But for a club like West Ham, I mean, is there any value in doing a Wigan? Wigan won the FA Cup, but went down.
No, of course not. But if that's the only option on the table, you take it, won't you?
Sure.
Because it gives you some credence and some credibility.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we were saying a month ago, your little mate, what's his name, Barry Silkman, turning around telling you that there's no way that Dave should be keeping, what's his face, Nuno Espirito Santo. And here we are with Nuno Espirito Santo breathing life into what looked like a decaying corpse.
Yeah.
And they're right in it and giving themselves a real chance that nobody thought they would be given.
It was Barry Silkman I was talking to, not Max Bygraves, incidentally. Dango Quattara missed a decisive penalty kick for Brentford, opting for a Panenka. Would you be furious for him opting for a Panenka?
Would I be furious as the owner? No, because I would devolve that fury to the manager, because they're his charges.
Yeah.
Depends if I built my future on what I felt that Brentford were achieving in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Nice opportunity. Look at the composition of the quarterfinals. The big clubs are in it, so probably Brentford were going to come a cropper anyway. I'd be quite happy to look at the team's performance, look at the individuals' performances over the course of his time, and say, well, that's one of those, isn't it?
Well, it is, and that's exactly what Keith Andrews is saying. Have a listen.
No, I'm not annoyed at all. I think the easiest thing for a footballer to do is not take a penalty. I think it takes unbelievable courage on a stage like that to take a penalty. I despise the culture around players that have missed penalty kicks, and I think the ones I'm talking about, national heroes that have done it, ridiculed, persecuted. I think it's disgusting. It takes serious courage to do that. He practices that technique a lot, goes in, everyone's raving about him. So Dango will get the absolute support he needs from myself and everybody attached to it.
Last game of the season to stay in the Premier League and see if he said it then.
But do you not respect that? I like that from Keith Andrews. It's good man management, isn't it?
Yeah, it's man management. What it is I've got them on side. I'm not going to take them offside. No benefit in that. I'm not going to go after them or an individual for a decision that was about himself, rather than necessarily the team. If he felt that, I don't know if that's his stock in trade taking those Panenkas, if that's where he takes penalties. If he does, then I'll roll it back. But Keith is taking a position which is a sensible one. I have turned water into wine with these players. I've defied the conventional logic. I've proved the owner right. I've got everything going the right way. I've got a 6-year contract. Why would I go to war with a player about this? But if it was a game where Brentford were trying to stay in something really meaningful,
Sure.
like the Premier League,
yeah,
I would hasten to add there might be a different view from the manager.
Maybe a different tone. The upshot is West Ham United play Leeds United, Man City play Liverpool, Chelsea, Port Vale, oh yes, and Southampton up against Arsenal. A lot to get through this morning, and bear with me on this. I really do mean a lot to get through. It's 10:15. We're alive and well on TalkSport with Selco, where the trade goes.
What's happening, everyone? After a pulsating weekend of FA Cup action, we are back to focus on the Premier League. If we are focusing on the Premier League, we have to focus on one club. That club is Tottenham Hotspur, and therefore there is only one man to talk to. That man is Flavio Briatore, and I am delighted and honoured to say that he has found the time to join us to discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur. Flav, how are you, sir?
Always got time for you, Rory. I'm very well, mate. Thank you, all things considered.
Mate, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. It's a fascinating time at Tottenham, and I honestly can't believe where we are. I can't believe what I'm about to say to kick us off, but I honestly believe this to be true. I think that Tottenham, in order to survive, need to sack the manager that they have just appointed. Igor Tudor needs to be confined to the ash heap of history, and you need to appoint somebody who will keep you up. Is there any sense in that?
Yeah, I've been turning this question over and over again on my since. I think since Palace's third goal went in before half-time, and have they made a massive mistake with this guy? You can understand the reasoning being that, whenever he's gone into a football club at short notice, he has always, without exception, turned the club around. Every single time. You just have to look at it. So, he went to Juve, they had to qualify Champions League, he did it. Won 7, drew 3 and lost 1 of the first 10 games. Did the exact same thing at Lazio. And saved Udinese from relegation twice. So it made sense on paper, but as we know, doing it in the Premier League as opposed to doing it in a league you're completely comfortable and understand, it's just like a different sport, might as well be. So the question isn't whether or not Igor Tudor is the right man to save us from relegation. He probably isn't. The question is how on earth did he end up? How on earth have we ended up in this situation where he is our manager? We could potentially have a third manager in a Premier League season, and generally when that happens, teams get relegated. They don't survive.
Now, given that we're talking about Tottenham, I thought I would bring you this amazing Tottenham offer brought to you by Betano. They have a massive game in Madrid on Tuesday night. Now, it's not looking good, but if you are a Tottenham optimist, I have a great bet boost for you. Tottenham to win or draw. They get the draw. Solanke to have at least one shot on target, and Richarlison to have at least one shot on target. That is boosted from 24-5 to 11-2. And if you really want to do me a favour, please go through my link. The link is betano.co.uk/Rory. You can scan the QR code that's on screen now, or click the link that's in the description below. That's right, sign up using my code and you will get £40 in free bets when you bet a tenner. Anyway, let's get back to see what Flav has to say. The thing is, Flav, as well, I'm not really casting aspersions on Igor Tudor. The truth is, I don't know how good at management he is. He might be fine. He might work out to be a really capable manager. The problem is, you need wins now.
Yeah.
I don't think people are necessarily acknowledging the magnitude of Tottenham Hotspur being relegated. It's beyond. People go, once in a generation. It's not even that. I think since 1950, Tottenham spent one season out of the top flight.
It's inconceivable,
this
really.
Is truly historic. It's inconceivable, absolutely. And yet, it feels like it's going to happen.
Yeah. You look at the momentum of West Ham and Forest. The results are not necessarily there, but the performances are, and the results will probably come. Whereas the performances at Spurs are not there at all. We look lost, and I think maybe the reason why Igor Tudor isn't perhaps the right man is because of how much he's tried to change. He's had 3 or 4 different formations in the first 3 games. Players playing out of position. I know you have no time for Conor Gallagher for good reason, based on his decision making, right? But when he was captaining Chelsea under the latter part of Pochettino's tenure, he was good, right? He was a decent player. At Spurs, he's been a non-existent, almost like he shouldn't even be on the pitch. It's been that bad, right? And it's not.
Do you know what as well, Flav? It sounds extreme, right? It sounds extreme. You know when you go, or when I said to you, I think he needs to go, Tudor. It sounds extreme because it's 3 games. Like you pointed out there, 3 games. It sounds crazy. Yeah. But 3 games is 25% of Igor Tudor's time to save the club.
I know. Yeah. Scary. So that's why if it has to happen, it has to happen now. We've got the Champions League place, Champions League tie with Atletico Madrid to get in the way of that campaign to save Tottenham from relegation. So he'll probably get those games in knowing that we have no right to go through on that. In some weird, perverse way, we may end up going through. I don't know how that'll ever happen, but football does change things. And obviously he's got Liverpool away. If he loses against Atletico in Madrid and then loses at Anfield, that's 5 losses on the bounce. You have to try something else because you're rocketing down. But I just want to go back to what you were saying there, Rory, about how inconceivable and crazy this situation is. It's almost like if Spurs do go down, it's kind of, in terms of performance, sort of like a level of Leicester winning the league in terms of how weird, odd and unexpected it would be. Perhaps not quite the same, but on that, it's certainly in the similar ballpark. You know, Spurs turned over the 9th most amount of money in the world in world football. 9th
and in world football.
For that to be, it was around between 550 to 600 million pounds. For that amount
I think
of money.
Therefore, Flav, it would be the biggest shock. Like, when you said about Leicester winning the league, I've always seen that, and I still do, by the way, as like the greatest achievement in football. Yeah. And I've always seen it as the most unlikely achievement. I think it is the best Premier League title win ever and will forever be unmatched. But in terms of a bigger shock, this is bigger. The team with the ninth most amount of money, the 9th largest revenue, being relegated. It's actually unfathomable.
Right, and so what has gone wrong? Like, who's responsible? And it isn't just the players. There is some decision-making that's happened behind the scenes, whether that be at the Lewis family, whether that be for the last 5 years of decision-making from Daniel Levy, or whether it be bringing in or sacking him with no real plan in place in order to how to run a football club. So all of those things could be true, and none of them could also be true because we'll never really know. But we've, talking on our podcast and the various bits that I do, I've kind of come to a kind of conclusion that it was years of eventual mismanagement and football, really, the world of football leaving him behind in Daniel Levy, where we are at this position, where he was forced to go, where having underinvested in terms of wage and not necessarily transfer fees, but certainly in wages, has just left us in a position where the quality of our squad is nowhere near good enough. And I think merely because they play in a Spurs shirt, they get boosted up to be thought of as better players than they actually are. And you talk to Spurs fans, and a lot of fans are guilty of this as well, Rory, right? Is that you always think your club, your players are better than they probably are. You got Arsenal fans when they're interviewed how many PSG players were getting their team last year before their Champions League tie. They said they wouldn't take any of them, right? All fans are guilty of doing that, but it is weak, our team. The drop-off from the first 11 to what we've had to play with injuries is gargantuan. And that's because the very best players don't want to come to Tottenham because they won't enter a conversation because the wages aren't on offer. And that's down to Daniel Levy's setup and his ideas, and was always going to head this way. Not necessarily relegation, that should never even been on the table. But complete underachievement and mediocrity is the result of paying half of what Arsenal do in wages.
What do you think, though, Flav? Do you think you go down? Like, we can talk about the sort of failings of Levy, and I think that you're completely justified in doing so. I think that the frustrations that Tottenham fans have with the Lewis family are completely founded. I think that they're completely fair, and I can understand even though he's only been there 3 games, I can understand the frustration with Igor Tudor. He is getting it wrong. But however wrong it's all been done, however poorly this recipe has been concocted, mate, you're not the 3rd worst team in the league.
No, but it isn't as simple as that. It's about motivation, it's about morale, it's about your captain coming out and saying he's been lied to. This is just 6-7 months after signing a brand new 4-year contract and then made club captain. He's coming out and going, these people are telling lies. And you think about, what is that? Or what is he being told? And it's probably a collection of all of the things that was spun to him, that this is what the club are going to become, this is what we're going to do, and he hasn't seen any of it. And he's the most influential man in the dressing room. Like, I've got it on really good authority, almost guaranteed authority, that players are intimidated by Romero. Like, he has that aura in the changing room. They listen to what he says. He is, by all intents and purposes, the captain, the man that they listen to more over everybody else. And he's the one coming out with, messaging that says that the club have lied. So what are these players hearing? So I'm sort of round the houses way of answering your question here is that it's not just about quality. We're not the third worst team in the league if it's just played on paper, but football isn't played like that, as you know. And morale and change of managers and change of direction, sporting directors leaving mid-season, it's all of that is the result you'll end up seeing on the pitch. So yeah, no, we shouldn't be going down. We shouldn't be in this conversation, but we are for a reason. And to just say we're too good to go down is foolhardy.
Too good to go down is too good to go down. I mean, I know that I'm drawing on an example from years ago, but do you remember obviously I know you know the Dennis Law back here, Manchester United went down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So too good to go down. West Ham United with an amazing team, Trevor Sinclair, the Joe Cole, great side, 42 points, went down. Leeds United, despite very recently being in a Champions League semi-final against Valencia, went down. Tottenham Hotspur would be more shocking, certainly in my lifetime, than any other relegation. But the theory of too good to go down doesn't exist. Are you confident? Because cards on the table, I know you know this, but I want you to go down. The reason I think that you won't is because I feel like you only need 3 wins or 2 wins even. Two wins, 2.5 wins. Yeah, 7 points. I feel like it's so salvageable. You're in a terrible state now, but it is so salvageable.
I think, Rory, you think it's salvageable because you want it to happen, right? So you're looking for, of course they get out because it's something you want to happen. That's what it's like as fans, football club fans. Having watched Spurs, I take no pleasure in talking about this at all. In fact, I never thought I'd have to have this conversation. We haven't won a game in all year, and we're in March. We are, in terms of points amassed, by far the worst team in the league. So, to me, having watched every minute of Spurs since the turn of the year when we last beat Palace in December, I can't see where we'll get 1 win. Let alone, I can't even see us getting a point at the moment. So, unless something changes and they make either Tudor suddenly figures everything out, or they bring in someone who can just go, you guys are good players, we're going to play you in the correct positions, we're going to have a go and see what happens. Because it's overcomplicated. Like, you know when you're looking at it, Rory, right? And you every fan of every club listening to this will know this to be the truth, where you think you have an understanding of a player's best position. And the minute you see, and it consistently becomes a truth, that players are played out of position, it's a problem. Like, we set up against Fulham in a 4-4-2 with 4 central midfielders across that 4, so midfield 4, and Gallagher as our width, offering us our width. It's not what he does. And then you've got another opportunity where you've got Sousa, our new Brazilian left back, very young, very raw, but there's something there, right? If you're playing a back 3 and you've got your wing backs, you have a balance there, right? So you've got Sousa who plays on the left, and Pedro Porro is one of the best crosses in the league. Utilise that, but no, instead he plays Porro as a part of the back 3 and puts Gray on the right, and you're like, it's just, someone needs to come in and just go, where do you see yourself on this pitch, and just listen to the players and allow them to play. I don't know, man. It's
do you know what you've just said there? I know the answer. I genuinely know the answer. I felt like I knew the answer anyway, but listening to what you just said there about making sure that the players play where they want to play, players feel happy with the system, players comfortable. I do know the answer, and I think that this answer keeps you up. I thought it before you even made that point, but I certainly think it now. The problem is it's the Cheltenham Festival this week, so you can't do it just yet. But after Cheltenham, you know what you do. You know where I'm going, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Harry Redknapp. Is he? How? I mean, I know he's into his horses. He's got horses running in the Gold Cup, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
That's
He's got
insane.
I'm undoubtedly gonna have a go on Harry Redknapp's horse. Like I love. I love the Cheltenham Festival. Yeah, well, I mean he had a winner last year, but yeah, this year Jukebox Man, I'm going for it. I am undoubtedly going for it.
Well, this is Jukebox Man, is it? Well, we're a football club on the brink of disaster. So if it's got to be Harry Redknapp, he's got to forget about bloody Cheltenham and come and save us. Although he won't really, because it's.
No, but look, after Cheltenham, and also I'm being facetious about Cheltenham.
No, he would definitely not join us during Cheltenham. You know how much time? No, he wouldn't. Do you know how Spursy it is, Rory? The fact we've got to wait for a fucking racehorse competition to end before we can get someone.
Yeah, I do. I totally get it. But look, I think Harry Redknapp, and I know that there'll be people listening to this now, Flav. I'm sure you get cast with the same aspersion. We're nostalgia merchants, right? We're not progressive. We're not. Yeah. We don't necessarily appreciate the brilliance of a Russell Martin because we're always acknowledging the brilliance of a Harry Redknapp. But I'm convinced Harry Redknapp gets you 3 wins. I'm convinced that Harry Redknapp keeps you up. I mean, Clive Allen, who was Harry Redknapp's assistant in what? How long ago was it?
Yeah, 2010, 11. 2010, 2011.
Yeah. Fifth, right. Nearly 2 decades ago, Clive Allen is still at the club. Ledley King is still at the club.
Yeah.
There is nobody in the world that would convince me that Harry Redknapp doesn't keep you up.
Yeah, I think I absolutely disagreed with you. Like, if it, before Tudor was appointed, and I didn't know he would be there. I just thought too old, too out of touch. Players won't listen to him. But I think he's our last shot here, right? And he can get the younger players, the people that are younger than him, that are at the club, like perhaps bring Ryan Mason to talk to the players in the way that they understand. But Redknapp essentially brings in that kind of unity. I think you might be right, and it's shocking, really. Yeah, I just think.
Do you want him? What do you want? What do you want? If you were making the decision, do you want Tudor out now? Say you could make the decision.
Yeah. If I could click my fingers and Redknapp would be available, then yes, I would just make the change now because you've seen nothing in the games. Even that Palace game, right? Even though we went 1-0 up and then literally within 3 minutes Van der Ven was sent off and a penalty was given. But even before that, they had like 80% possession. It was terrible. It was rubbish. So, I think Redknapp in would be something. But really, when you think about this, is this a short-term fix that perhaps won't be remedied. If we stay up, we've still got massive problems. You got Daniel. If you believe the reports, Venkatesham. There are some people suggesting that Venkatesham isn't actually in control, and the Lewises are getting much more involved in the running of the football club. That is terrifying. They are businessmen.
Flag, do you know what I saw? Do you know what I saw about this? And this blew my mind. You might know more about this, right? Put in a really prominent position at Tottenham was the Lewis's son-in-law.
Yeah. That Vivian Lewis's son-in-law, David Boucher. Yeah.
Like what are the chances of the best man for the job in the whole world? The best man for the job happens to have married your daughter.
Yeah, no, exactly right.
It's like nepotism at its finest, right?
Yeah, and the result of that kind of nepotism is alarming, right? If his job is to come in here and just, in terms of look after the interests of the Lewis family, then he would have a role on the board and you'd understand why he was there, right? Because he has to know what their asset, if you want to look at it like that, is worth, what is being done within the football club to ensure its safety, because that directly impacts how much their asset is worth, right? The Lewis family, Tottenham is rooted to be worth somewhere between £3 and £4 billion, right? In its entire portfolio is around 6 billion, right? Which means half of their entire portfolio is this football club. That wasn't the case when they bought it. It was a tiny percentage of ENIC's interests, right? So now that it suddenly becomes massive, it's grown. Daniel Levy did an incredible job increasing the value. But what we've got here, and again, these are rumours. We don't know if they're true. I don't want to get in trouble for saying too much, but this guy, the son-in-law of Vivian Lewis, and essentially the main decision maker at Tottenham now, he was the one who said we need to sack Thomas Frank. Apparently, Venkatesham was going, we don't sack Thomas Frank, not yet. It's fine. We just keep hold of him. There was now a strong recommendation from ENIC that we sack Thomas Frank. That means, even though he is probably correct in this instance, that he's making footballing decisions at the club with absolutely no qualification at all. And it's that type of infrastructure behind the scenes that leads to a club the size of Tottenham having to have this conversation about relegation. And the sooner it's sold, I think the better, because we know now that... Do you know who Amanda Staveley is? And she head up the PIF?
Newcastle United. Yeah.
Correct, yeah. So she's done with that, and she has been done for a long, long time. Her and her husband essentially front up consortiums or bodies of interested parties who want to buy football clubs. That's what they do. And then once it's done, they walk away. She's not a chairman, she's not a decision maker. All she does is create the capital, get the people together, and ensure a deal goes ahead. Daniel Levy spoke to Simon Jordan. You've probably seen the clip where Simon Jordan says briefly when they met on the plane, Daniel Levy doesn't believe the money is out there to buy Tottenham Hotspur at the value that they want it to be at. Amanda Staveley now has been heard and directly spoken to by people that we know, Rory, saying that we have the money and we want to go ahead with buying Tottenham Hotspur. The idea that we don't have the money isn't true. We've raised the money and we can buy this football club. Now, the deal that they bought Newcastle for was worth £300 million. It's peanuts. The deal to buy Tottenham is like not peanuts. It's a lot, right? And where's the upside of £300 million for Newcastle is gargantuan, whereas the upside of £4 billion for Spurs is probably
even if it goes really well, how much more can you be worth?
Yeah, exactly. So all of that stuff, but they're still necessarily, they are interested and they do have the money. And Amanda Staveley has been making a point of this vocally and in public, which is to change the narrative.
That is obviously what you need. What have you given thought to being relegated, or have you just? Is it not something that you're even open to considering at the moment?
Yeah.
How damaging? How damaging is it? Like what? Is it, do you feel like you go and you're back in a year and you're almost, some clubs, Newcastle United did it, when they're having like a turgid time in the Premier League for years, and then they go to the Championship and it's like a spa break and they come back all like reinvigorated. Do you feel like you do that, or do you feel like it's so damaging that
it's a couple of things. On a sporting level, the likelihood is yes, we rebound. Yeah, you get the financially, you're like a different world to everybody else in the league. Our B team is better than almost all of the Championship, and I know this because speaking to James Alcott, and he said Archie Gray 2 years ago for Leeds, playing at right back, was one of the best players in the league. He looked at. I sent him over what would a potential lineup be, which wouldn't survive in the Premier League, and he said that team walks the Championship. So, if you take him at his word, you would assume we would come back up. But as a fan, no, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed. I think it's the reality is that why there's been a financial hit on the football club. If they return to the Premier League, they can turn things around. Their asset will be worth what it is. They can sell it. It'll all be fine. But as fans, you have to take this humiliation on the chin. We can't do anything about it but watch it happen. So no, I in no way do I see this as a spa break. And I was watching this is how sad it's got, Rory, and I'm sure you'll enjoy this, right? But I sat down on the sofa and I watched the highlights of the Championship, right? The highlights
to see how you'd get on.
Not just to culturally, what's it like? What are we going into? Like, what is it? And
it's like when you go on holiday. It's like when you book a holiday. You got to go. You got to watch a travel vlog before you actually go on that holiday.
Yeah. It's a bit like that. I'm
going to Marseille. Here's 10 things to do in Marseille. I'm going to the Championship. Here's 10 things you need to know about the Championship.
I looked at it. We'll be playing in half-empty stadiums all across the place. You play 46 games a week with zero enthusiasm. No, in no way would this be a positive thing if we went down. And I mean, there was a Newcastle fan who commented on a video that I did with Jim. And he said, you think you have an idea about when it's down, but what it's like going down, but you get into January and it's freezing and it's cold and people have lost interest in your club. That's the reality.
Yeah. Also, playing against Tottenham becomes everyone's cup final. If you think the home form's bad this year, If you think your home form's bad this year, I can't. But do you know what, Flav, as well? Do you know what I've just seen? TalkSport Bet have paid out on Tottenham being relegated.
Yeah, I mean, that's so that people like you mention it and bring it up, and they go, "Oh, TalkSport Bet," and then let's bet on it, which helps you. I appreciate that. But
I can't. I just didn't think that it was like an actual possibility. I thought it was like a dream, almost a mirage.
Your dream.
But the more that I've spoken to it and speaking to you, it's barring some sort of drastic performance in your next game. Unless you get rid of Tudor, you're in big trouble, because Nuno Espirito Santo is a well-versed manager, a good manager. I mean, Vitor Pereira has done it before.
Yeah.
But in terms of the bottom of the Premier League, it is fascinating. And in just a moment, we are going to talk about Tottenham Hotspur, who remain in 16th. But look how the teams below them have squeezed the gap. Nottingham Forest with that point. West Ham with the win, put them on to 28 points each. So Tottenham Hotspur going to their next Premier League game away to Liverpool, just a point clear of the drop zone.
They were just so disjointed. They were all over the place.
But he was the man who'd been brought in to bring sort of more discipline, defensive structure as well. At times the defending's been comical.
Yeah, it has, because you've got people playing in different positions. I've talked about Palhinha playing in a back three, and when you look at the Arsenal game, I go, look, no problem. The personnel he's got no Christian Romero, so it's a makeshift defence. I get that against Arsenal. And then they go to Fulham and play with a back four. So now what is your message? Your message is you're chopping and changing. So then Thursday night comes and we go, no problem. I look, Danzo comes back, Mickey van der Ven's there, and where's Pedro Porro going to play? He then slots in right of a three. I'm like, what is happening here? Archie Gray's then playing right wing back. You've got Sousa, the young lad, making his full debut playing at left wing back. You've just got players all over the pitch, and I'm looking thinking, this does not fit. It really, really doesn't. So I'm going to simplify it. Send a message to the players that we're all in it together. I mean, his media posts have been really surprising, talking about the way off it. All right, he comes out after and says, I want to take players who are on the boat going in one direction. There's one direction this boat's going, and that's sinking. That is really how drastic it is at this moment in time. I'm telling you, it's worrying, because managers can come in and talk about tactics and talk about this. Forget that. Forget tactics. They've gone out the window. It's about trying to find some belief. I look at the players. It's desperation at times. You see the decision from Mickey van der Ven. When they get fortunate to be leading the game, I think the goal disallowed was very unfortunate for Crystal Palace point of view, but Archie does great down the right-hand side, pulls it back to Solanke. Great. They've had a lifeline. They're 1-0 up. And then within a blink of an eye, a penalty's been given. Mickey van der Ven pulls Ismail Assar down. And now everything's gone out the window. The clouds are coming in, the pressure's on, you can feel it in the stadium. The players are looking around thinking, can someone help me? No, there's no one there to help. You look at each other. Only we can get us out of this trouble, and that is where they're at this moment in time.
And it's
big
four wins, Tim. 4 wins in the last 29 home games. Wednesday night, you were sat here. I asked you ahead of the game on Thursday, if it goes badly, if they lose that one, could they change manager for the 3rd time this season? Do you think they will now?
I'm not sure if they will. I'd like to know...
Do you think they should?
I'd like to know who makes the decisions to give them the job in the first place. I mean, they've taken a lead off someone. There's no one at that football club would know anything about Igor Tudor. Absolutely no. There's not anyone would know anything about his career. But they would have spoke to Mario Paratici. He's the only one who would have come across him. And then I know that Damien Comolli has a good relationship with Tottenham, going back a lot of years. He's the one who sacked him at Juve. You know, so if Daniel Levy was there, he would surely have spoke to Daniel Comolli. He's not there anymore, and I don't know who's making the footballing decisions, because whoever it is, he's not doing a very good job of it, is he? And I think, secretly, they wish they never made this change. I think they would have hoped that they would have kept hold of Thomas Frank or rolled the dice in a different direction. And I know it's easy in hindsight, but did we really believe this guy was going to come in and hit the floor running? I mean, he's never had this situation before, and everyone points to the fact that he has. He's a firefighter, but he takes clubs from European positions, Europa League, to Champions League, like he did at Juve. The only relegation battle he's ever been in is at Udinese, and he was in there for 4 games. And they wasn't in a relegation battle when he went in there, and they finished outside of it. And that's a tiny football club. We're talking about Tottenham Hotspur. The equivalent, if he would have gone in at Juve when they were struggling for relegation, and kept them safe. This is the job. That's the replica of what he's come into here. I keep saying it, this club cannot get relegated. Well, it certainly can. Dawes said it is a realistic possibility. But the pressure of it, and I think he's been slapped straight in the face by the competition in the Premier League. It ain't easy.
Yeah.
This is a tough competition.
Well, he looks lost at times on the touchline.
He knew nothing about it. And you keep chopping and changes. And I understand why you chop and change. When you can't get the result, you chop and change and you try and find the solutions. But he's gone from, I 100% guarantee we spend next season in the Premier League, to the player's not fit enough. We're not good in attack, we're not good in the middle, we're not good at the back. We need our injury players back to fitness. You've got to get on with what you got. You know, forget all that nonsense. Concentrate on the players who are fit at the moment and try and give them a lift. You talk about the manager bounce when managers go into clubs. You don't get that bounce by having a stick and whacking them with it. Not if the downside looks like relegation. You have to give them a cuddle. You have to find the best solution. You have to give them an easy solution to how we're going to play. This is how we play. This is how we're going to stick to. And you play every single day. You know, when I went into Tottenham, you go and you say, this is our formation. Everyone gets used to it. And I know you can play in that position, you can play in that one, you can play in that one. I don't ask Michael Dawson to go and play in midfield. I wouldn't ask him to go and play right wing back. I know what he is.
Yeah.
Why are you asking players who are not accustomed to playing in that position to go and play in them positions? It's mind-boggling. The way this club is run at the moment is an absolute shambles.
I want to come quickly back to you, Tim, before hearing from the other guys. If the call came to come in to the end of the season, if they do make a change, would you take it?
Well, the answer is, I think it's impossible to turn down. I think because it's an opportunity to go back to a fantastic football club, but it's broke at the moment and it needs fixing for the short term. And that is what the job is. We know there's not a long-term future there because Mauricio Pochettino, as I said, will come to the football club. He won't come, by the way, if they're in the Championship. We might have to look elsewhere for that. But let's hope they stay in the league. And I talked about, I thought it was a strange decision with Igor Tudor. Thomas Frank's a very good manager and he knows the Premier League better than anyone. So what happened there? Ange Postecoglou, who I would never have got rid of in the first place. He won something. You're sacking a winner. Now, I know everyone says he finished 17th in the Premier League, but there was a reason why he finished 17th. And perhaps you start looking now and you think, we need to look closer to home here, you know, because the players are not up to it at the moment. The players are not showing what they're capable of doing. We talked about Michael Carrick going into Manchester United. And some of the guys at United now are players are looking unrecognisable to under Ruben Amorim. It's because he's given them a lift. He's put them, it's simple. It's common sense. Play them in their correct position. Play Kobe Mainoo, he's better than Ugarte. Play Bruno Fernandes as a 10. That is where he wants to play. Then all of a sudden, Šeško looks like he's getting deliveries into the box. He looks like half a player. So it's common sense. Yeah. You know, it's not a science, this game. It is really straightforward, but it's being complicated by people who don't know what they're doing.
Tim, if you did get the call, and I think personally from my point of view, being at the club for a long time, someone with a DNA of Spurs needs to be in there. You came in when I was there in 2013 and you were ruthless. There was home truths. People didn't like it. How would you go in and approach it at this moment in time?
Too late for that. I mean, when I was in, there's no stick. You take no stick in with you now. All you got to do is start blowing smoke up their backsides. You got to tell them. You got to tell them how good they are. Yeah. You got to tell them that you believe in them and then what they're capable of doing. And some of them might react to that. Yeah. They're not reacting to the tough man. You can't go in with a tough man attitude because the downside is so catastrophic to get relegated. When I went in at Tottenham and took over from Villas-Boas, it was, can we get to the Champions League? It was probably out of reach, but worst case scenario, can you take us to Europa League? And we managed to do that. Yeah. So the downside wasn't as great. Now you can't start calling the shots to the players. And when you talk to the press, you cannot start digging them out in the press. And like he's doing at the moment, you have to go in with a different tact. Players have changed these days, you know, the different types of characters, but they're certainly, I talk about recruitment all the time, but they can't be as bad as what they're looking at the moment.
No, I've watched them and I've seen them for a month or so, and I've been concerned for a long, long time in this because I've been a player, I've been down that bottom end of the table, and your self-belief, confidence, where's the next winner going to come from? We've got 4 points from a possible 33.
But that's the thing, isn't it? And I'm going to bring the others in because it's turning into a bit of a Tottenham club down the far
like it,
end.
I'm here
I know
for
you
it.
do. I know you do.
Brilliant.
But we need to hear from you
Brilliant.
guys as well. And that's the thing, isn't it, Merce? It's a good point, Dorse, mates, because this has got Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, which is kind of distraction they don't need at the moment. But in terms of the league, Liverpool away next. Then it's Nottingham Forest, the team a point below them at home after that. Sunderland away, Brighton at home. At the moment, with where Tottenham are as a club, where the players are as a team, you're looking at all those and suddenly you're thinking, where does the next point come from?
Yeah, if you're living today, you do. You know, today as we sit here now, if there was 3 games to go, they'd probably get relegated. But there's 9 games to go. Still 9 games to go. You know, someone's got to go in. You know, I ain't sure if this manager's going to be able to do it. I think we've just seen it. 3 games gone. They've been well off it. They've got to get someone in and they've got to get fighting. You know, the next 3 games are very difficult. It's how low they're going to be by the time they play in a cup final against Nottingham Forest. But there's 9 games to go. You know, we're not talking about one game where they've got to go and beat Forest and, you know, or that's it and they're low on confidence, because confidence is a big thing in football. But I still think they'll stay up. I do, and I'm not just saying. I think they've got the players. I think they've got to get it right. He's got to play players in the right positions. And give them some confidence. You know, you see him doing warm-up, they're warming up and he's shouting at the players and all that. Don't need that now. Don't need that. You know, you've got a manager there who won't be there next season. You know, and a lot of them players won't be there next season. That's fact. They will be sold and they'll go to another club. But they won't go to a bigger club than Tottenham.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. You know, they sit there now and they'll be going, I'm at Tottenham, we're the 4th bottom, 5th bottom. Yeah. I want to get out of here. They ain't getting to a bigger club than Tottenham. So they should get their heads down, fight, and I think they will stay up.
And it's about confidence, yes, Clinton, but it's also about belief. And we're seeing belief at the moment from West Ham. We're definitely seeing belief from Nottingham Forest, particularly after what happened at the Etihad on Wednesday night. Do you look at these Tottenham players at the moment? You look at the lack of example being set by the likes of Van der Ven and Romero. Do you see a set of players who believe they can get out of this mess, have the stomach for the fight to get out of this mess?
Absolutely no chance. We're talking about the manager, and I don't think it was the right appointment. We said it a month ago. I said I would have put Tim in because he knows the club inside out. But the players are nowhere near good enough. I've said it 50 million times. Tottenham's recruitment is one of the worst. I remember a couple of years ago we criticised Man United's recruitment. And Tim says it all the time. Can't tell me there's no one in the academy that they could bring through the academy that's better than some of the players they're spending 40, 50 million pounds on, because they don't care about the football club. They don't care about the football club. I don't care what anyone says. No one realises what it's like to play for a club like that. He does because he's managed it, and Dorse does because he's played for many seasons. But some of these players, we get relegated. All right, you know what? I'm not bothered. I won't be at the football club again. That's what it looks like when they're putting on that shirt to cross that line. They're not giving 100%. I look at it, it's down to the manager to motivate them. And I don't think they have the manager who can motivate them. It's like the other day, they're playing against a Palace team that are not in the best of forms at the moment. Not in the best of form. Go and attack. Why are you still playing the 3 at the back, and basically a 5 at the back? And it doesn't mean, Si, when you go down to 10 men, that you can't still stay in the game. They capitulated. They capitulated because their manager don't know what he's doing. You saw it the night before when Newcastle went down to 10 men. They still went and won it. I know it's different. St James's Park is up. I totally get that. But you got to give something for the fans to cheer about.
I understand what you're saying on the recruitment, but the recruitment from Tottenham's point of view, when you go there as a player, when you go there as a manager, the objective is Champions League football. So all of them players are being recruited to finish in play in the Champions League. They're not going to play in it next year unless they win the competition. It's going to be very difficult for them to do that. Now, they're not good enough for the Champions League. I would agree, but they're good enough to stay in the Premier League.
100% they are, yeah.
So what has happened? You can't go from thinking as your recruitment officer or the head of recruitment or a sporting director or whoever is making decisions from trying to recruit players to play in the Champions League all of a sudden to drop into the Championship. Yeah. I mean, they cannot be that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So someone has to try and get a tune out of them in the short term and then try and get rid of them in the long term.
And Dorse, on the January transfer window, I mean, they're bringing in Conor Gallagher, but they arguably weren't short in that position. Did they gamble because they looked at the situation and thought the idea of this club, this famous old club, getting relegated is absurd. So weren't prepared to take the gamble on bringing other players in, which now looks like it might backfire spectacularly.
Unthinkable. And in January, that wasn't probably a thought in any one of the hierarchies' thought process. And Conor Gallagher was available, and I was sat on here and thinking it was a great signing. But you looked and went, was that a position that they need? And probably in hindsight, I'm one that would go, oh, OK, maybe I got it a little bit wrong. You got Archie Gray, you got Bergvall who's injured, Benton Kerr got injured, you got Polina in there, you got Papsar in there. And then they sell Brennan Johnson and go, Kudus gets injured 2 days later when he's gone. They've got no out-and-out right-sided winger that gives them a chance to get up the field. So you look at your players that you've got at your disposal and you're thinking, right, I want to play in a back three, I want to play with wingers, but sometimes you have to be adaptable. Sometimes they've got numerous injuries, I get this, but I'm with Tim. This group of players, in my opinion, is not a top four group. Are they a top 6, top 7? Yes, I think that's capable. But a relegation battle, they have to look at themselves in the mirror and go, this is unacceptable, and we have to find something, and we've got to get to some belief. But Conor, I certainly know, has gone in there. He's a leader of the pack, and they need people like that. They've lost to Ben Davies. They lost Sonny last season, captain of the football club. So you lose big personalities, and it comes down to individuals to perform, and then comes about how do I give something more to this team. It's not just about me, it's about the collective. And at this moment in time, they have to find the leader at the top of the football club, to the manager, to the players to get that. Otherwise, they're in big trouble.
Hi, that's what I was waiting for. I wanted us to be able to say hello first of all before we take you out live to Bergamo. Kate, Thierry, Jamie and Micah, and as Micah now suggested, we are going to go out to the boys, the lads, as he said.
The lads.
Alessandro and Peter.
Lads.
The scenes out there were incredible.
This was, honestly, for a team to lose 6-1 and have that kind of support is just... don't see that very often in football. And there was a moment that was on the 5th goal when Olise scored. The whole stadium was actually clapping, and I've never ever seen that before.
Never seen this before. So the team is 5-0 down. Olise has just put it in the top corner, and all of the home supporters were clapping and applauding. Respect.
Just out of respect of how good Bayern Munich and especially Mikel Olise was in this game.
It's a special place, Bergamo. What they built through these years, it's unbelievable. And we just saw, not only that occasion, but on the scene after the game. Losing 6-1 with that kind of celebration, that kind of love that you have for the team, because the team. Play 100%. This is what they got now, and no more than that. There's so many injuries because they have the Keteler, the Raspadori, Jim City, and Emerson. I mean, too many strong players for them. But beside that, I mean, also Bayern was incredible, tough, strong, perfectly combination and scores, and they had so many opportunities. And Karnecki was the goalkeeper, was the best player on the game, probably. It's unbelievable.
I mean, I'm totally with what Thierry said there. Bayern means business. I think that Bayern they are the best playing team in Europe at the moment. And the options they have. I mean, just look at the bench. You got Harry Kane on the bench. You got Leonard Carl on the bench. You got Musiala. He came on at half time. He had the luxury of giving him a little bit of time and not risking too much. Towards the end of the game, you had three players in yellow cards. Two of them from previous games, obviously. Two of them were successful in Kimmich and Olise in delaying a corner kick and a free kick so much that they got booked and got the second yellow card, so they are suspended for the next game. Which, I mean, how often do you have that opportunity? Yes. And then every substitution that Vincent Kompany made just did look like Bayern became a worse team. It was really impressive to see them today.
Yeah, especially also because Atalanta, maybe the only mistake that they made, they conceded that goal, the first one, too early in incredible, funny way, let's say, because it was a true situation where they missed the man. But to be honest, I mean, this is a game that have to finish 6 at least goals, because they have probably 15, 20 opportunities, clear opportunities on goal. So it's good like this.
We do want to speak to a guest we have waiting for us. Bayern tonight won 6-1 against Atalanta in Italy. Ooh. Michael Olise is with us. Do you hear us? You do? Good to see you.
Michael!
Good to see you, good to see you. Michael, you scored the second tonight. Did you know already then, did you sense that the game would be as wide as it was?
I feel like we knew they play man-to-man, they're aggressive and stuff, so we could create space. If we do all the right movements and stuff and we stick to our structure and whatever, I think we knew that there would be space and we just have to punish them.
Michael, this is the boss. No, listen. I think you said it well. I think it's the wrong way to play against Bayern Munich, man to man, because you guys have the capacity to skip a man, and so therefore to open them up. But I saw that it was your first goal. You didn't score in 8 games or something like that. I also saw that you have 16 goals and 21 assists in all comps. How far can you go with that team?
I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But we keep on going as much as possible. Like right now, we're doing well. We have good momentum and stuff, and we just try to keep this, honestly.
Michael, fantastic performance, couple of goals and assist, and you've just had a question there from the boss, as he calls himself. I mean, what are the differences when you have your different managers? You got Thierry at the national team, and you're managing now Vincent Kompany.
Sorry, what's the question? What's the differences between what?
Yeah, Thierry and Vincent in managers. Vincent Kompany sort of new into sort of management. Obviously looking really good at the moment. What are his strengths?
I mean, he's a manager with a lot of ideas. He has a clear structure, a clear idea about how he wants us to play, and I think we will follow that. So I'd say that's his strengths. He's got a lot of strengths in it. So.
Michael, I have one for you. I'm sure you saw that people are talking a lot about the freedom and how the game might be a tiny bit more boring at the minute. I'm not talking about me. I'm saying what people are saying. Do you have the freedom when you are on the ball to go and dribble and create?
Yeah, I think when I'm in a certain area of the pitch, the coach wants me to beat my man, to play, to shoot, to do what I want to do. So I'd say I have the freedom in that sense to play how I want. Yeah.
It's nice. Keep going. We like it.
Michael, Big Meeks here. What's happening?
What's good?
It's nice to see you on the pitch and not in a restaurant.
Yeah, he told me.
I had to.
What's the story? What's the story?
No, there's no story. It's between me and Michael. I just saw him in a restaurant.
They were
he was not doing anything wrong. He was just having some nice food. That's all.
Was you doing anything wrong?
Well,
look at his
it's
laughing.
none of your business.
Michael is laughing.
No. Anyway, back to the football, Michael. I just want to ask you, what's the aim for this season then? Because you're firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I think the aim is every season when you're at a club like Bayern, you want to win everything. So the aim is to win everything.
And then the World Cup, obviously in the summer.
Yeah, it's quite exciting. It'll be my first World Cup if I go. So yeah, I mean it's the same aim, you know. You can ask TT, he knows.
TT, what do you call TT? Come on, man.
It's the boss.
Again, man.
Can I just ask you something about, we always have a discussion on the show about Ballon d'Or. Kiki's my man, Mbappe. Obviously, Lamine the Dream is in there. But I'd like to throw your name into the hat as well. Michael, come on. Bundesliga, Champions League, and World Cup. Ballon d'Or, it's all there for you, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really focusing on that. There's a lot of the season left to play, so I mean, if it happens, it would be nice, but it's not really my focus at the moment, you know. It's the trophies first, the team, and then whatever happens after that happens.
Okay, we'll talk about it over dinner again. Just call me when you're ready.
Michael, we appreciate you.
Well done.
You just come in here and ask me if I'm good.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to ask you, are you good?
Yeah, I'm all right. It's been a good game, good win. And I'm watching now a couple of the images, and yeah, it felt like the team was communicating a message that we want to communicate always, which is scoring goals. And yeah, the players did so well today.
I mean, historically with Bayern, you've always been able to score. I mean, you are the only team in the Champions League history who more than 30 times has scored more than 5 goals. It's kind of in your tradition, it's in your history. How difficult is it to create a team that plays that attacking football so well and creates so many chances?
I think it's always about finding. You have to have the talent, you have to have the quality. So, like I said, I didn't score a single goal, but the players that we have are able to score goals out of any phase, any position. Today was counters, set pieces, possession phases, dribbles. I think the main thing is to have the attitude and to trust to put them on the pitch, because it's easy to say we put one more defensive player here, maybe another one there, and then before you know it, maybe you lose what is actually the best attribute. So for us, we have them, we use them, we trust them. We demand that they work very, very hard for the team, but that's the only compromise.
Well, you wanted him on the show, so there we go.
Yeah, but
nice
I want
to see
him
him. I know.
on the show.
Yes, I agree. We'll make an appeal.
Okay. No, I don't want to make an appeal.
Are we too cool to make
Are
an
you
appeal?
gonna text him? I'll text him. Don't
Made an
worry.
appeal to Kylian Mbappe.
I know, yeah, but that's my first love, isn't it?
I guess the scary thing about this Bayern Munich is that you know, they're 11 points ahead, I think it is, in the Bundesliga. At some point, they can just really kind of focus in on Europe, Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at that both ways. I think teams in the past have almost used that as an excuse at times when they haven't gone on to win the Champions League, because maybe certain games, you know, they've lost that competitiveness in the running. So you can look at it both ways, but it certainly means when you have a Champions League game midweek, or maybe a player's not 100% fit, there's not a necessity to play him in the weekend, you know, in a league game. So that can certainly help. But maybe sometimes, you know, teams can switch off. But I don't think that'll be the case with Bayern Munich. You know, Vincent Kompany is right on top of the players. You can see that, you know, the sort of respect he has in the game, and I think within his own team as well. And there's just that many good players in the team. What are you laughing at?
Because Mike is so impressed by
You said necessity. Spell
normal
it.
words.
Spell it. Your words have gone up a notch tonight.
NECISSITY. Is it double C?
You went wrong with the I.
E.
Necessity.
Necessity.
Oh, did I go NEC?
Let's go.
I like that, Kate.
Yeah.
I'm liking your vocab though, Jamie. It's really
You said conundrum tonight. That's one of mine.
Conundrum.
You find your own words. That's one of mine.
Things went from bad to worse for Spurs. They were beaten 5-2, tonked by Atletico Madrid in the Champions League last night. But he is currently due to take Friday's press conference ahead of Sunday's trip to Liverpool. He spoke to the media after the game. He discussed his decision to sub off his goalkeeper.
No, it happened very rare things. I'm coaching 15 years. I never do like this thing. It was necessary to preserve the guy, preserve the team. Incredible situation. Nothing to comment. You see, it was before the game right choice to do, right choice to do in the moment like we are, with pressure on Vicario, another competition. Don is very good goalkeeper, so it was for me right decision. After happened this, of course, it's easy to say that it was not right decision.
Well, you say it's easy to say. When the team news was read out during yesterday's show, the first thing I said was, that's a big mistake, dropping the goalkeeper. Listen, there were 2 mistakes he was involved with. One, he slipped, nothing you can do about that, other than have the right footwear on. The other one went to kick the ball and it went over his foot and led to go. That's his fault, right? But what I'm not having is a goalkeeper whose job when he comes in is to unite the whole, not just dressing room, the whole
Manager,
club.
not goalkeeper.
What?
Manager.
Yes, yeah. His job, when the manager comes in, Igor Tudor, his job is to unite not just the dressing room, not just the club, but everything connected with Spurs. And by that, I mean the fans as well. The divide, I mean, Spurs are worse now. The divide that he's created between what looks like him and the whole dressing room seems, I think, to be just too big a gap now to have any chance of pulling that back. I think Tottenham as a club are completely and utterly broken, and he's a huge part of that problem.
He is now, 100%. I mean, and that's why I kept saying to you that he shouldn't be there. I don't care if it's only 3 games, he can't be there. I mean, when you look at the game, right, and 5-2, yes, it's a battering, but when you look at the numbers, it's it's probably not as one-sided as you'd have thought because
numbers from what, the game or
the
Tottenham?
game last night.
Right.
So total shots at goal 11 apiece. Big shots on target 5 to Tottenham, 7 to Atletico. Big chances 5 to Atletico, 3 to Spurs. Big chances missed. Tottenham missed 2, Atletico missed 1. So I'm not saying it could have gone either way because Atletico are better, but the scoreline, it could have been Romero had a free header if he scores that. Do you know what I mean?
They scored from Richarlison's header.
So there's 2 there. Do you know what I mean? So it could have been a little bit closer, but I agree with you. I think the manager hasn't been good enough. As the decision to play the goalkeeper, that's fair enough because I'm not Vicario's biggest fan anyway. But okay, but you've got to stick to that decision, right? What I didn't like about that whole scenario with the goalkeeper, you're effectively telling the world, right, I'm taking him off because this result so far is his fault. Do you know what I mean? You're not blaming any other players. You're not dragged off 3 or 4 of them because, by the way, that could have easily happened. Gone, no, I'm not happy with this. 40 minutes, you off, you off, you off, and you off. He's gone, right, goalkeeper, who I've made the decision to put in, it's his fault, so that's why I'm taking him off. And then as he walks off, not even acknowledge him. That is absolutely disgusting man management. And I'm telling you now, the rest of the players in that dressing room began, I'm not having him.
Who him?
The manager, I'm not having him. How can he do that to you? That's out of order. Regardless whether his performance, which was terrible, by the way, you still have to go, do you know what, I've made this decision. As he comes off, just give him a little hug or tap on the back.
He's part of your team.
He's part of your team. And you've almost alienated him by doing that. But saying that, I mean, the performance last night was atrocious. And I mean, absolutely atrocious from start to finish. The wrong footwear, yeah, I know you said it's not his fault, but you're the one who checks your footwear before the game to make sure that's all right. You warm up in one pair of boots. If you're slipping in the warm-up, you then go back inside before the game starts and put on another pair of boots to make sure, yeah, these are better. There's that. The way they played, they're far too open. But the goals were too easy to play against. I mean, one of the goals was class, the Richarlison header, and then it goes the other way. But he has to go.
By the way, Griezmann's touching that was
Major's class, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just class.
But he has to go, the manager. But he shouldn't have been in charge last night, Andy. That's the problem. He should not have been in charge.
No. If he stays in charge for the Liverpool game, there's only one result.
Yep.
Right. Then he'll go. Then he'll get fired. This is what I think.
But then you're giving him 2 games.
I know. But they gave him 3. They've already given him 4 too.
Yeah.
He should. Here's the thing. Whoever appointed him
needs firing.
And what I don't get about football, and I've said this before, it's like no other industry. Football and Tottenham is worth, we're talking billions over years and years, right? We're talking about match day revenue. We're talking about sales of shirts. We're talking about mega store sales. We're talking about the amount of money clubs spend on players and their wages and their and just the whole experience, right?
Yeah.
And survival in the Prem. We're not just talking 160 million. We are talking billions.
Yeah.
There is no other industry in the world where you will put someone in charge of your company when you know you're effectively 2 months from not going out of business, but losing 200-300 million. There's no way in any other industry you put someone in charge that doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But in football, it seems to be okay, and I don't understand that. And so the person that made the decision to put him in charge, he needs firing at exactly the same time as they fight.
It's been a disaster. I mean, I could tell you from the first few games, and that's why I've come on here and repeatedly said 3 games is enough. Like he's not getting anything out of the players whatsoever, and now he's probably lost them fully because they're like, well, look what you did to one of my teammates. So, and I've said it before, Dyche, if you are Tottenham, he's free. You've got no job. Go and get him.
Is he the only answer?
I think so, right? Now, I know people have said about Harry, but Harry's last job, 2017, Birmingham. No disrespect to Harry, but Harry is older in age now. So
could just explain to people why the age thing and being out of football, more importantly, it just can't work.
No, because I just feel like
what won't he be up to speed with?
I just think you lose it a little bit. You lose something. I mean, like the game's moved on, by the way, also. So that's one thing. I mean, you look at how technical the game is now in terms of possession, the way you want to play. It's probably a little bit away from what Harry was used to. And I know that people have said he'll galvanise the dressing room and that's what Spurs need. But there'll be a lot of players in that dressing room that will be going, well, who's Harry? Like, oh yeah, I remember. Do you know what I mean? It's not like he's current now. Whereas I know Dyche is. You know how he operates. I think he's the one. You could go and get him and go, here's 18 months, regardless whether we start or we go down, and take the job.
Okay, let me give you some other names that Tottenham fans are getting very excited about. I mean, anyone they're getting excited about, as long as Tudor's not there. Robbie Keane's a name?
Yeah, potentially, but why would Keane take that now? I don't. For him, I don't think it's the right time now.
Why? Because if he, let's say, was given a 3-year deal and they went down, is that not a great time to start building?
Yeah,
I suppose there's more pressure on you because you've got to get out of the Championship, right?
Which is hard. And Dyche has done both. He's kept teams in the Premier League and he's gotten promoted. And he's recent.
All right. Who else? Tim Sherwood's name's mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, Tim, I think he's got one of the best winning ratios in Spurs history.
And he
so-
stopped Villa from going down, right?
He did, and he played, and he's got that he would be a better option, I think, than Harry, because they're quite similar in terms of the man management style. I really liked him. I think he's brilliant, if I'm honest, and I think he's got the gift of the gab as well. So he can make players, I think, believe in themselves and go, do you know what? Okay, we can do this. I quite like the Tim Sherwood one.
What's insane when you think about it logically, right? When you evaluate exactly what's going on in that boardroom, is if they're not sacking Igor Tudor, that means the reason they're not, this is a fact, by the way, is because they think he can turn it around.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't, they'd sack him. So they obviously think he can.
Yeah.
That means they think he can get a result against Liverpool.
Yeah, or they think he's still the right man for the job.
Yeah.
Or
which is more frightening than the fact that he's in charge.
Or they've put out callers to who they want and they've been turned down potentially. But I can't see, unless there's a situation with Sean Dyche and his payout, and that's why maybe he can't. But if there's not, even Gareth.
I just think it's tough for someone like Gareth to try and save a sinking ship.
No, but you have to give him 18 months. You have to give him 2 years.
I know, but now everyone's level effectively. Spurs were just above West Ham, right? But a point difference.
Yeah.
So they're savable.
Yeah.
If they go down now under your stewardship, that's a big black mark against your name.
See, and that's why I think Dyche. I don't think he'd mind that. First of all, he'd back himself to keep them up.
Yeah.
And secondly, he's like, okay, worst comes to the worst. And also now, even though it's a black mark against his name because of where they are, everyone in football who's got a brain, common sense would go, well, it's not Dyche's fault, is it? Like,
No, that's true.
Do you know what I mean? It's he's gone in there late doors. I mean, don't get me wrong, if he goes in there now and loses every single game between now and the end of the season, then it is his fault. But he will nick a result here and there. It'll make him hard to play against.
Yeah.
That make him rock solid. But they need something.
Yeah.
Like, even if you haven't got a manager in place now, he's got to go.
Okay. Do you think there's any Spurs fans out there whatsoever that will actually be saying, hold on, Igor Tudor's coming to a broken club. What chance has he got? It's not his fault.
I mean, you always get some at some football clubs, don't you? Some fans that think completely differently, but I think you need someone else. You need freshening up.
You don't think Spurs will go down because they're called Spurs?
Correct.
When will you change your mind? So Liverpool, let's say they lose 3-0 at Liverpool.
The moment they drop into the actual bottom three, that's when I start to go.
So that could be this weekend.
Yeah, and the only reason why I say that is because the start of every season, and I'm sure West Ham are the same as that, but it would have never ever crossed Spurs' mentality in terms of the players, the club, anyone connected to that club. We could go down. When you're actually in it, you need a different mentality to get out of it.
And then you start sinking.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Because you get players as well that start. They go the other way. They
I
go.
don't want to be here.
Well, I ain't going to be here next season anyway. So, so you get all that going on.
You'll get that, will you?
100%. You'll get players. Well, it doesn't really matter. I'm putting the phone to my agent. If we go down, I can go anyway. So then they've got the wrong mentality in that fight. You don't need that.
No. With sort of West Ham, you sort of feel they're not used to it, but they've got players that will fight for that
But
club.
they've also been relegated in more recent times.
Yeah.
So have Nottingham Forest, who spent a long time outside of it.
Yeah.
Burnley have as well. Leeds have. So they're in amongst teams who have got that mentality that have been down there before.
Used to it, yeah. Okay.
One of the favourites for the Gold Cup tomorrow. The owner, Harry Redknapp, is with us now. How are you?
Good, morning, Harry. I'm all good. Gabby, I'm all good. Yes, thank you.
It's nice watching those moments back. I mean,
Yeah.
not only you football royalty, but you're the household name as well from I'm a Celebrity and
Yeah.
everything that you've done over your career.
Yeah, it was good fun. Yeah, I've just done it again. And September, everybody seems to think I'm going away. They keep saying, oh, were you going back in? I said, well, I'd already done it. It was recorded in September. So
What's funny is I bumped into your son and I interviewed Jamie at an event. And I
Yeah.
said, how's your dad getting on? And he went, oh, he's over in South Africa recording I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out Here. And I went, is he?
Yeah.
And he went, I don't know if I should have said that. So he kind of spelled the secret back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
How was the show?
It was good. Different format. You sort of came out when you lost a trial. So we all did trials, and then the loser would go out.
Yeah.
Until I think there was 4 left in, and then that 4 again will be they'll decide who wins it. The public can then vote on it. So yeah, it was good. David Hay was in there, with great boxer, Mo Farah. So I had a lot in common chatting to them lads. It was great fun, So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
My worst nightmare. No one's eating.
Did they make
No
you
one's
anything
eating.
this
No
time?
trials are getting done. Heights, snakes. Oh, none of
You're
them.
doing nothing.
Nothing.
Harry, Cheltenham, talk to us about this
Yeah.
festival. You love it. Are you enjoying it so far?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's amazing. People come here and have a great time, don't they? It's a special race. I love the racing, but Cheltenham is the absolute World Cup final, World Cup of horse racing. Yeah, it's amazing to come.
I think as well with Cheltenham, for me, when you come to this festival, different to Ascot, isn't it? It's more.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it.
Well, Ascot, Gabby, I think after people who go don't even watch a race, do they? They go there. They get dressed up and it's champagne and whatever, and they're all sitting having a drink all day, having a great time.
Yeah, of course.
But here, it's more racing people.
Proper racing people.
People. They come from Ireland. They know the racing. And they love it. The cheers go up, and it's just a great atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a shame Alan's not here today. He was so excited to be
loves it. Yeah,
having you here as well. He's back tomorrow for Gold Cup. He wants to see you getting a winner as well.
Well, we got a chance tomorrow. I mean, it's such a tough race, and you look yesterday. I mean, Willie Mullins is amazing. He keeps having winners. Nicky Henderson's in great form. So, it's...
What would the nerves be like tomorrow morning?
Gavin Cromwell's horses are running well. I'll be nervous, when that tape goes up and they go off. I just like to stand all on my own. I don't really want anybody near me saying anything stupid to me. A bit like being a football manager, and that's why I never sat in the stand as a manager.
We'll stay away from you then.
Sit there and you've got people sitting behind you. You're the manager and you're hearing the most stupid remarks. You think, get me. That's why I'd rather stay in the dugout, and I'm a little bit like that here. I stay in the paddock right at the front, watch this big screen, and anybody, please leave me alone just for 5 minutes.
You were saying that Sandra and you're going to go visit Jukebox Man.
Yeah, this morning.
Today. Yeah. So what's it like on match day -1 for Jukebox Man? Essentially,
well, he's been out this morning for a gallop. He's had a loosener. He's going back for his pre-match, Gabby. Probably got egg on toast.
Spaghetti bolognese.
He's probably got a bit of some egg on toast, cup of tea or something, like we used to have. And then he's in the box today. But he's one of them. You can't go in his box. He's only Ollie who looks after him, and one of the girls there. They look after him, and he wouldn't let you in the box. If you go in, you wouldn't get out. That's for sure.
Just loves you? Or
no, he's a bit
feisty.
Feisty.
Right.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to go in there.
Right, big jukebox.
Yeah, no, he'll have a chunk of you. You come out with only 3 fingers or something. No, he's a bit... my mate came the other week, Dave Redford, a magician. He's an amazing guy. And Dave went in there and started trying to give him some mints. And next thing, he nearly lost a couple of fingers. But no, but they don't have a problem with him. He knows them and he's safe with them. But he thinks anybody else coming into his space, you've got to be careful.
Of course.
I was saying earlier, wasn't it, off air to you, Harry, about, I think it was Tuesday where I was watching a race and one of the horses really wasn't feeling it right at the start. Can that just happen to any horse? Just on the day, doesn't fancy it?
No, they come down, they get bit, freaked up at the start, or all the atmosphere, the noise, and everything can upset them quite easily. So then they probably something got in his head, and if they don't want to go, they're not going to go. But normally all the jockeys. But yesterday even it was disappointing. The first race yesterday, I had a runner called Taurus Bay. I thought he'd run ever so well, to be honest. He was Ben Pauling trains him for me. But Max McNeil, good friend of mine, absolute great, loveliest man you could ever meet, and he had the favourite yesterday in the first race, and I thought it would win yesterday, and Max has been building up to it for weeks and weeks and weeks. He loved. If anyone deserved the Cheltenham winner, it was him, and the start was really ragged, and Harry Cobden missed the break, got stuck, and the starter let him go, and he wasn't really in a position.
Yes.
And he really had no chance. So he was out the back on the inside of about 20-odd runners and never, ever got a run, which was sad,
Well,
but that's how it can go.
Yes.
So,
yeah, and we'll wait and see. Good luck for you. Everything crossed tomorrow for Jukebox.
Thank you.
Your former Spurs club, I mean, that's the headlines at the moment, Harry. A lot of people are glad that you're with us today, because your name is coming up a lot when it comes to the conversation around Igor Tudor and if he will be staying at the club or if he's gone. A lot of people would like to see you take over, and they seem to call us here at TalkSport looking for one man for the job.
Anybody would be better than Igor Tudor right now. Harry Redknapp is not a bad choice at all.
You need someone in at that football club who cares about it, who has an affiliation to it, who's going to get the fans on side, who are actually going to support
After Cheltenham, get Harry in.
Well,
after Cheltenham.
Well, I reckon Harry Redknapp should get a phone call tonight.
Spurs need a change. We've said it for weeks. Harry Redknapp has even come out and says, I would have taken it if they offered it me. Go and give it to Harry Redknapp now.
They need to get someone that's a Tottenham man in there that understands the Premier League. For me, at this current time, I would put Harry Redknapp in there.
Yeah, unless you're paying all our guys a tenner at a time to mention your name for the job.
Definitely no. I would take Jamie O'Hara as my assistant.
Would
you?
Take
Really?
Jamie. I'm going to get him off the radio. Yeah.
Do
I
us
love
all
him.
a favour.
Good lad, Jamie. Oh my God.
Would he be the kit man?
No, he could be anything. I just get him. Yeah. But to be fair, they don't. I mean, it's such a short-term job for someone. Someone needs to go in there and just give the place a lift, don't they? That's the key, and it's not. It ain't going to be what you're going to do on the training ground. You're playing Saturday midweek. You're not going to be out there putting on some super coaching training sessions. It's going to be about the spirit around the place.
You know what it's like though, Harry? I mean, I've been at times at Aston Villa where you need someone to cut. Tim Sherwood come in and kept us up, and you need someone who's going to put their arm around a player and like make them. Oh, you're a good player. You're great players. Sometimes
Tim
when
would
a
be a
discipline.
good shout now. Tim would be. Tim would be. You know, I think someone like Tim, Glenn Hoddle, even would still be.
What about yourself?
Yeah, I'd do it for sure. I mean, I would definitely wouldn't say, but I don't see myself getting it, to be true.
Have they reached out?
No,
Have they reached out to you?
No, never spoke to anybody. So I would doubt very much whether I would be.
The problem is, Harry, is that people might have laughed 3-4 months ago, 2 months ago, but now it's like it's real chance of them going down.
I didn't see
it's
it.
1 point now between Spurs are in front of Forest and West Ham with 1 point.
Yeah.
They're fixtures to come.
And them two are in better form. West Ham are playing very well. I think West Ham, please God, West Ham get out of it. I think they're playing well. They're a bit of form, and so Somerville's in great form for them. Suddenly, Bowen's not scored lately, but he's a fantastic player, and they look like they're on a roll. Notts Forest are quite capable of putting a run together as well, and they're dangerous. So really, Leeds are on the verge of it, aren't they? But they should be. They've got, Leeds have been unlucky to be. They've done well. They've had a good season. But so Tottenham really are probably favourites, I think, out the teams that one of them's going to go out the 3 or the 4. And at the moment, their situation is pretty desperate. Isn't it?
It's crazy. I mean, what would you rather? Win the Gold Cup on Friday with your Bucks man, or save Spurs from relegation?
If I was a Spurs manager, I'd save them from relegation. But if I'm not a Spurs manager, then I want the jukebox man to win.
I love it. I love it. In terms of Daniel Levy, I mean, he's no longer at the club, but do you think if he were still in his position there, maybe you would have had a phone call? Because
I
he
got
was
a phone call last week from Daniel, funny enough. I think I spoke to him once since I left, all that time ago.
Wow.
And I was in the car last week, and suddenly phone goes, and Daniel Levy. I thought, strange, And I on the phone about half hour chatting to him, and he was explaining, what had happened to him, and how he sort of got marched out of there, which was really strange, wasn't it? Really,
he was marched out there.
Well, I think he was. I think it was quite, unceremoniously exited from the place. Really, it seems so. And now, obviously, he's got no control anymore. He's nothing to, he's probably still owns the shares, doesn't he?
Does he have hard feelings as to how that went down?
I suppose you would do, wouldn't you? It's like it's natural, isn't it? I suppose to be, he's not happy with what happened to him, obviously. But so yeah, it was quite interesting. He did say to me, he said, look, if I was there now, he said, I would definitely, and I'm not just saying it, so I would bring you back to the end of the season, Harry.
Wow.
So it would have been interesting.
Well, would have been.
Yeah.
But Spurs fans will be fuming now, hearing that, knowing that the club won't even still reach out or haven't. Maybe you'll get a call today, or maybe they're thinking like Jamie O'Hara, Gold Cup day, and then maybe they'll give you a call.
Liverpool were away in Turkey playing against Galatasaray. 1-0 was the final score for Galatasaray, Jamie.
Take it away.
Yeah, listen, it was a really good game. I think I've said that every time it's come to me, and there was a lot of good games tonight, lots of goals, but this was an end-to-end game that was a bad game in the end for Liverpool. Bad results, really poor in the second half as well. First half started well. A lot of that was to do with the mistakes of Galatasaray. I don't think Galatasaray are a great team. You know, it's still a team Liverpool should beat and should go through. So I'm still 98%. It was 99 a couple of weeks ago. So I still think Liverpool will go through. But this is a worry for the manager and the team. What we saw tonight is what we saw early on in the group stages, away in Galatasaray early on in the season, that this team is just a million miles off where it was supposed to be this season, which was that we'd be talking about them in the same light, the way we speak about Bayern Munich right now. That was the whole point of Liverpool spending over £400 million in the summer, was to go the next step from winning the Premier League to go and win the Champions League. And we're talking about a team who have now got to change a deficit against Galatasaray, which I think they will. But I don't have any hope for Liverpool going any further than that if it's Paris Saint-Germain in the next round, as I think it may be. And that for me is a big worry. And it's not just a defeat. I think the performances from Liverpool this season are a big worry for the manager. I think I said on this show in the group stage, he's got to do something, he's got to change something. He's tried everything, really, in lots of different ways. But nothing seems to be able to work, and it's just at no stage this season have I ever felt Liverpool were in control of a football match. It's either end-to-end basketball, so we wanted to stop that and change that, and then it just becomes slow and boring and predictable. And do I think another manager could come in straight away, or not straight away, or any manager, say you give him that team or that squad, I don't think it dramatically changes. I don't. I really do think sort of the makeup of the squad, how it's been put together, the lack of options in certain areas is a big problem as well. So it's not just all about the manager, but as we know, managers carry the can.
Do you think there's more noise because Alonso's a free agent right now?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably that. I think that's fair because of his history at Liverpool, and also he did such a remarkable job at Bayer Leverkusen. It wasn't just he's had a good managerial career so far. We know Madrid didn't go well, and I think Thierry hit the nail on the head for probably the reasons why, and it'd be better for that experience. But I do think the job he did at Bayer Leverkusen was not just a good job, it was one of those jobs that you look at and you think, that's not supposed to happen for Bayer Leverkusen, what he did there. So I think him being on the market obviously probably does intensify the pressure, maybe not from the club, but maybe supporters, because they've got a love affair with Xabi Alonso because of 2005.
Why don't you take us through the goal for Galatasaray?
Yes. They come from a set piece, and Osimhen wins the first contact, doesn't he? And then Lamina's there just to head it home. McAllister, he just mishits it, doesn't he? Trying to evade the bodies in the box. Doesn't get a clean connection.
And then the chance of Ekitike, and then you need to kind of bang your run to be able to see the two angles, but it didn't, and the goalkeeper makes a great save.
Well, look at that, some nice scenes here. We had him in Bergamo, now in Galatasaray.
Well, the Liverpool manager, Arne Slot, has spoken in the press conference after the game, so let's hear what he had to say.
Even more frustrated about the fact that every free kick and every corner kick we took, if we only look at Galatasaray players, the referee already gave a free kick for Galatasaray. And if you then look at how much they pulled on Virgil's shirt before the ball hit Ibu's arm, then it's safe to say that we were not the only one impressed by the atmosphere here today.
Are those complaints fair?
The pulling, you can see it, yeah, it does pull. I think it's Sanchez that does, if we show it again, it does pull the shirt of Van Dijk before, because if you concentrate on what's happening at the back, yes, there was an handball that wasn't. You will see. You can see the you can see the shirt going. I think it's single, by the way, not Sanchez, but you can clearly see that it's pulling the shirt of Van Dijk. It's fair, obviously, but it didn't happen. So, yeah.
But what happened tonight is I watched Liverpool on the set pieces, and they did what they do in the Premier League, where everybody now just goes into the 6-yard box. There's almost sort of 15 or 16 players inside the 6-yard box. But even when I was playing 20 years ago, you knew referees in Europe looked at set pieces completely different the way we did in the Premier League. So when the referee's looking at situations, he's going to give a foul. He's going to give things like that. I remember when Peter Crouch used to play for us, 6'7" sort of striker, and you go a little bit direct. in the Premier League, and he'd be getting up and maybe using his arms a bit. He used to get fouled free kicks against him constantly in European football because they just weren't used to seeing, and they're probably not used to seeing what we see in the Premier League and almost take for granted now week in, week out. But yeah, something could have happened on the Van Dijk one, but I think the manager privately, saying that publicly, but privately be really disappointed with how Liverpool performed there.
Still got to pick up those highlights between Newcastle and Barcelona. We jumped out when Newcastle had just gone 1-0 up, but then there was a penalty incident in injury time. Who wants to take us through it?
Titi, take it, Olmo, the movement.
Yeah, because you see, first and foremost, where he wasn't between. Look, that's what he does there. The way he shifts. He goes left, he goes back right. Anyone was going to buy that. Then obviously, the big guy missed one the other day, but he's not going to miss this one. And then, yes, they suffered, but they're back to Barcelona with a draw.
1-1. Newcastle, do you give them any chance going over to the Camp Nou?
A little chance, yeah. There's always a chance.
Ooh.
There's always a chance.
He just says nice things about everyone. Keep everyone happy.
Oh my God.
You analysed before for us how you thought Newcastle could kind of take advantage of Barcelona's high line. Did you think they managed to do that enough tonight? And
probably not enough. I think they did in the first sort of 15, 20 minutes. You felt like a goal was coming. You know, they were causing Barcelona real problems. But, I mean, the goal comes from something like that in terms of, you know, pace, getting down the sides, little 1-2, someone not tracking the run at the back post. But I thought Newcastle would cause them more problems, actually. But I do agree with Mike.
No, but you thought also, let's all be honest, you thought that at the beginning, you thought that Gordon was going to start. And then it would have been a different ball game if Gordon started.
I still feel like Newcastle can cause them problems in the new camp, and I'd be surprised if they didn't score, you know, in that game. But you just think Barcelona home, you could see them scoring 3 or 4 in that game. I think Thierry mentioned before the game, he watches probably more European football than any of us, that they are the best attacking team. You know, in this competition, there's obviously some great attacking teams there, but you think of obviously, you know, they've got in Yamal as well. So yeah, I still think Barcelona will get through, but I would expect Newcastle to score in the away leg.
So the same as me, basically.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that take too?
Bayern is battling with that team. I think that Bayern is way more balanced.
Yeah.
Than Barcelona in terms of how they attack, how they shift places. And you will see whoever is, you know, it can be the winger inside, the striker like we saw with Nicolas Jackson on the right. They know what they need to do. They press well. They're very difficult to beat at times. It looks like at Barcelona, you know, sometimes you have the tie against Atletico. I don't know if you guys watched the game in the Cup where you lose 4-0 and it could have been 6-0 to 7-0 to Atletico. And then you bring the game back to Barca and then it could have been also 6-7 to 8-0 for you. So you need to find that consistency and that balance if you want to win and be considered as one of the hot favorites to win it. I still think they are. But that balance sometimes that they don't have make me turn a tiny bit more to Bayern and Arsenal.
I think Bayern or Arsenal would beat Barcelona.
Hey, Micah.
It is all over in the late finish in the Champions League in Spain. Atletico Madrid, 5-2 winners over Tottenham Hotspur. And suitably enough, the rain is pouring down. It is raining in Spain. And what does this mean for Igor Tudor? Under pressure already after 3 straight defeats. Make that 4, Sue. Can he survive this?
It's difficult, isn't it? You can't see it, I think, because he's obviously come in as the short-term fix. You know, you wanted to see a reaction from Tottenham. You wanted to see that immediate response, and we just haven't seen that. Like you say, 4 losses in a row. You know, I know a lot of Spurs fans. I think before this game they were saying there needed to be a change because they're panicking in terms of relegation in the Premier League. But then I think after they've watched that game, they've looked at some of the decisions that he's made. It's difficult because it seems bizarre, doesn't it, after 4 games to say you need to then change your manager. I just think you've got to look at the people that have appointed him, you know, the people that have brought him in. We said it on the show, didn't we? We were saying, well, he doesn't have Premier League experience in terms of playing or in terms of managing. Yes, you know, he's got maybe experience of going into a club and having that instant impact, but we just haven't seen it. But honestly, Jules, that first half, the first 15 minutes, I think was the most bizarre 15 minutes I've ever seen, you know, in terms of Spurs going 3-0 down, the goalkeeper getting subbed after that 15, 16 minutes. absolutely bizarre. I think all you can say from a Spurs perspective is they kept going, they got 2 goals. But yeah, Atletico Madrid were brilliant, but they were certainly helped by Spurs being poor.
First Spurs boss to lose his first 4 games in charge, by the way, Igor Tudor. Let's talk about that decision to first of all start with Anthony Kinski, to put him in instead of Vicario. But then, and he was culpable for a couple of the goals, to take him off after just 17 minutes. He looked distraught, and the manager didn't even acknowledge him. First of all, the decision to start with him clearly backfired.
Yeah, it did, and clearly he's looking for solutions, isn't he? He's clearly looking to say, you know, how can we get those wins? How can we get confidence? Changing the goalkeeper, he's clearly thought was the right thing to do. After 15, 16 minutes, he decided that it wasn't the right thing to do. Obviously slipped on the first goal and then give away the third one after Van der Ven slipping for the second one. I think from a human perspective, an emotional perspective, I just felt for him. You know, walked off the pitch, and yeah, Tudor didn't acknowledge him at all. But whether that's what he does with the other players that came off, because I was watching just to see, is that his response? Is that what he does? He didn't acknowledge anybody, so he just keeps focused on the game. But I just think from that, I think as a goalkeeper, you've come in, you've got that opportunity, you've not taken it. You've had a bit of a nightmare. You just want an arm around the shoulder, and the players went over to him. You know, Romero give him a hug, Vicario give him a hug after he came off, because he just went straight down the tunnel, because he must be absolutely devastated. Huge game like that, for that to happen, I just really felt for him.
He hasn't played, Merce, let me bring you in on this, since October. 132 days since Kimski last played a game of football for the first team at Spurs. And he was chucked in at a time when everyone's talking about Spurs, everyone's questioning the manager, they're in a relegation battle. He started in tonight. What did you make of that?
Well, when you're under pressure like they are, Tottenham, and they're low, their confidence is real low. You ask everybody along here, if there's one thing you can bottle up as a footballer, it's confidence. Their confidence is low. They make mistakes. You have to rely on the manager to stay calm and for the manager to make the right decisions. That was a horrible decision. I said before the game, I said he's a bit erratic. You know, this is a big game. You're playing against one of the top teams in Europe. And I said if they start well tonight, they'll run riot. I felt for I'm with Sue. I felt for the goalie. I felt for him. You know, it's hard enough coming in after that many days, but to go into a place like Atletico Madrid, who are a very, very good football team, yeah, he got it horribly wrong, and the board can't keep on letting him sit there getting decisions horribly wrong. With players, when they make mistakes, you can't just get rid of a player. You might be able to drop him, but you've got to understand he's been around a long time. You know, read the room. You know, for me, it was a bad decision. It's come back to haunt him. You know, now they're going to go into the Liverpool game low on confidence, another 5 goals. Then they get beat there, and they will get beat. And then they go and play Real Madrid again. The worrying game is Nottingham Forest. It's their cup final. And for me, at the moment, they are struggling badly, Tottenham.
Yeah, these are the games.
When you look at them, it actually highlights the poor decision to start the goalkeeper. Yes, he's made mistakes, but if you think he's the man to start the game, why would you take him off? Yeah. I mean, it just shows you that it's another terrible decision from the manager. Yes, Sue's right. The hierarchy need to take a responsibility for this call. You look at, I think when you're doom and gloom, and you know he is so stone-faced, and you know it looks as if he's hard to that emotional side of the manager to get on and say it's not what Tottenham needed us. There is no doubt there is good players there. There's no doubt there's good players. But right now, it's just, you look as if you need an arm around you, you need encouragement, you need, the manager just looks like a total energy zapper right now, and that's the performances that's coming out in the pitch. You look at him, I mean, again, what was it, 3-0 inside 15 minutes? Yeah. It's embarrassing.
Woody, 22 years of age, he is. Yeah. I mean, you might not see that kid again. Seriously, you might not, because being a goalkeeper and getting thrown into the mix of a game of that gratitude is absolutely demoralising. Trust me, coming off at that stage in a game, I mean, for me, I said it at the start, it was a big call anyway. You know, you need experience, you need to be hard to break down. To throw him in a game like that today was just completely wrong for me. Maybe starting at home where you can get the fans behind you, but going away to an intimidating place like that,
At least acknowledge the kid.
Yeah.
You know, at least acknowledge it. You're the one that's put him in this situation. Yes, he's made mistakes. Put an arm around him and just say, listen, it's on me. I've called this one wrong. But to ignore him, honestly, it's a disgrace.
I was going to ask Merce, do you think he'll be in charge of the second leg? Do you think he'll be in charge come Anfield on Super Sunday?
Yeah, I don't know who they're going to get to come in for that game. I mean, it's going to be hard enough to get the players on the pitch for that game, let alone get another manager in. Yeah, at the moment, I don't know. It's a great job, believe me. Tottenham, you know, even though I play for Arsenal, Tottenham's a top club.
Even right now?
But but they're still a top club, but they need sorting out. Otherwise, it's going to be unthinkable if they got relegated. Honestly, unthinkable.
Where's Tim Sherwood? He must be available for a call.
Well, I have just been informed Jason Cundy is in the building and he's on his way up to the studio. The lift there at the news building can be a bit dodgy. Player, by the way, he got himself in the position, but I'm afraid that is not good enough from Madueke. It's cheating. It's cheating, Coley.
Listen, mate, look. By any means necessary.
Well, exactly.
You know, like you're basically trying to salvage something from a game, and it's worked.
It's worked for him.
It's worked for him. And I think that's the story of Arsenal's season. Everything they've tried.
They just ground it out.
Everything they've tried has worked for them.
Yeah,
you know, and
I mean, look,
it's about time.
Arsenal fans will be saying, I'm looking at one right now, and they'll be saying, fair play. We got it for us. We got the point.
Yeah, fair.
But first, our phone lines are absolutely full because Chelsea got an absolute slapping tonight by the champions.
Whooping.
Here he is.
Here he is. Oh, here he is.
I'm doing you lot a favour here.
Yeah, you are.
Just come and stand for Bridge.
It's your show. This is your show.
Tell you what, deal with it.
No. Wait.
Condy's coming.
It's your show. You better. This is not a favour. I'm doing a favour for you. Hey?
Condy, karma.
Hey.
How does it feel?
Life comes at you fast when you're a football fan. Jeez.
Mate, you was doing the best. Right. Hold on.
Okay, so keep your calls coming in because Cundy is here. Spurs fans, I imagine you might want to get your 2 pence in as well. 03717 22 33 44. He's come in, he's sweating, he's looking a bit like O'Hara just before he left
He looks
us.
flustered, doesn't he?
But he's back. You're back, Cundy.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
he's on.
I can hear you.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, my gosh.
Mate.
Do you know what? I thought it was a joke. So I come off there at Stamford Bridge during the game.
Ringing you throughout the
And
game.
I've seen missed calls from Ryan. He said, O'Hara's ill. And I'm like, he said, can you come in? I'm like, he ain't ill. You just want to poke fun of me. I'm like, well, okay, what's the story? He's not ill, is he? He said, no, he is. He's ill. Well, I know he is now. He sent me a photograph. I messaged him.
It's unpleasant, isn't it?
Anyway, I'm ill.
What's up with you?
Oh, my gosh. How have we lost that game? How have we lost that game?
He's sick with failure.
I'm
He's
sick
with failure.
I am sick.
Soft underbelly Cundy.
Do you know what, right? It was almost like the reverse of Spurs last night. Spurs got off an absolute stinker first 16 minutes, and the game felt like it was gone from there, and they got themselves... We actually were in the game till the last 16 minutes, and we throw it away. Absolutely throw it away.
What's that about? Why have you got a soft underbelly like that? What?
It's just
a bit Spursy from Chelsea.
Do you know what? How we've lost this game. Look, 3-2 ain't a disaster. 4-2 is bordering on disaster. 5-2 is a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. It is. And I think we played well tonight.
You did.
And I come away from there.
Good first half. You almost drew the first half, Cundy.
I need Jamie here to be rubbing it in right now because what you've done to him the last few days.
Let me tell you now.
Despicable.
Let me tell you.
Despicable.
Yeah, it's
borderline bullying.
Yeah, it's been 7 days of fun for me. If I was Jamie, right?
I think you're in for an MBE, by the way.
If I was Jamie right now, and you sometimes feel better when you've been sick, right?
Yeah.
If I'm Jamie now, I'm at home. He's probably listening. He might not be. Might be in bed. I might actually phone up if I was him. Get off your deathbed. Phone up and give it to me.
Have you seen the photo evidence?
If you saw him.
No, I have. He sent me a photograph of it.
No. If you saw him when I first walked in.
No, I heard you.
It was bad, man. It was bad. I felt sorry for him.
Well, that's what Spurs do to you, isn't it?
It is. Look, let's get to the phone lines because
you caught the disease. What Spurs has got?
No, I hope I don't
What's
get
that
that.
about?
I hope I don't get that disease, mate.
Eh?
I don't know what that disease is, but I hope I never catch that.
Well, it's a lot of poo. There's a lot of poo going on, isn't it?
There is the poo.
Eh?
Jesus.
There is the poo. There you go.
Enough of that. Right, let's get straight to the phone lines because Michael, the Chelsea fan, has been waiting a long time. You're here to take his call, Cundy.
Go on, Mikey.
Michael, what do you think?
Michael.
Well, it's a good question. I'm a bit like Jason. I don't know what to think. It's just typical Chelsea this season, the last couple of seasons. I mean, all right, I'm gonna sound mad here. I still don't think we're out of it because I don't think PSG are all that.
Well, they're not, but neither are we.
They scored 5.
I'm not saying that. But I mean, that goalkeeping mistake. That was an accident waiting to happen most of the game. There was heart in my mouth most of the game, and we were messing around at the back like that. But it just goes to show what Chelsea are. You never know what you're going to get, and they're great going forward. But defensively, we are a shambles.
Michael, can I ask you a question? Did you think that Jorgensen was getting a little bit too cocky? There's a couple of dragbacks in the box. What
I thought, Jason, I thought, have they been told to play this way?
Yeah, of course they have.
Because it makes no sense. Even an A-House player like me knows when there's players around you, just boot it.
No, but that. Yeah, but so Jorgensen did actually go long. He mixed it up. There were times he's trying to get it over the top, played out to Pedro Neto. He tried to get Palmer in. Tried to play that. But do you know what? This goes for all over the pitch. The best players will always make the best decisions, and I don't care what area of the pitch you are. The best goalkeepers with the ball at their feet will make the best decision. How many times do we ever see Alisson and Edison really get caught with the ball at their feet? How many times? It's happened. Not that often.
It's rare.
If you're Jorgensen and you've been given this opportunity, big night at the European Champions, and you're saying, Cundy, that you think he's being a little bit cocky, dragging back in the box, do you not just think, if you get this right once, get 90 minutes right, you look at how terrible English keepers of English teams have been this week in Europe, right? Just get it right once, and then that's your spot for the next 5 games.
Yeah, but
now he's cast more doubt.
He's a number 2 goalkeeper. They both are. They're both number 2s. They're not number 1s. And the problem he's got now, Liam Rosenior, is he's made a decision. He put Jorgensen to go against Villa. Didn't have a lot to do, really. Didn't have any chance with the goal. He's then played Sanchez against Wrexham. Felt should have done better for their opening goal. Yeah. And now you move forward to today, and you're going, well, who's his number 1? And that to me is a bigger problem moving forward as a football club, because I feel Sanchez.
I don't think he rates any of them though.
Well, Sanchez is a better stop shot, a goalkeeper. He saved that Kvaratskhelia last goal. Sanchez saves that. He's a good shot stopper, can handle the ball well. The problem he's got, Sanchez, the ball at his feet. That performance against who was it against? We've got the ball at his feet. Arsenal. That performance against Arsenal, I've not seen for a year, but it's an instruction from the manager. He doesn't really want to do it. If you asked him, do you want to pass that ball 3 yards to a player who's got someone up his backside, he'd say no. No, I don't want to. I'd rather go higher and longer.
Yeah, big question.
The Diag in the fullbacks.
Yeah. And I'm just I don't know how to feel actually.
Look, boys, we'll give you a minute. Cundy, to wipe the sweat away, to dry the tears.
He's flustered.
Big question.
Yeah, I didn't expect to be here.
I know. Now you're here.
Saving the day. Poor old Jamie O'Hara. Right, up next, I'm going to hand over to the legend that is Jason Cundy, who's back in the hot seat. And we want more of your calls on all of tonight's Champions League action. 03717223344. You're listening to the Sports Bar on TalkSport with TalkSport Bet. Download the new TalkSport Bet app today. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Hello, good evening. Thanks for yourself. The tie coming back to London next week. And of course, Arsenal will be firm favourites for that. First, let's get odds with TalkSport Bet and Ambassador Ryan.
Bring it on with TalkSport Bet from weekly broadcast.
To get one back.
You did, right.
What a that. No. I'll tell you why life is cruel, right? Not because Jamie O'Hara got food poisoning tonight. It's not because of that. Yeah. It's because he had his chance today. He had his chance to get one back.
He did, right.
What a sad thing. So I've just got a few things here. The kind of equivalent of to Darius to Pooh, right? And I just want to run them by. I've got 2 suggestions. I've written down for you here, Jace. Just you let me know. I've got Carefree, especially against PSG. I quite like that one. That one's pretty good.
Ryan.
Go on.
I like you.
I haven't said my best one yet.
He's not happy.
I haven't said my best one. You ready?
He's not happy today, right?
Come on.
As you can see.
Go on, spit it out.
You ready for this one, Carlton?
Go on, mate.
Pooh is the colour. Football is the game. That's not too bad. Who is the colour? I just want to put it out there to the airwaves and let the people decide. That's not bad, that, Jace. You at least deserve
Who is
that.
the colour? And what is the game?
Who is the colour? Football is the game, right?
Oh, wow.
That's all right, isn't it, Jace?
Are you having that, Jace? I think that's bang out of order. Like, there's no need
it's
for
fine.
it. He chose violence.
He's gone for me.
He's just
Don't-
gone for
don't
you.
worry, don't
Just
worry.
on
I know-
Jamie's
What can you say
behalf.
about Man U?
I know,
They're not even in the competition.
Don't worry. Listen. Revenge is a dish best served cold.
They're not even
Have
in the
I picked a
competition.
fight with the worst person in the building? Is that what
listen,
I've just
Rhino,
done?
Rhino, listen.
You'll remember that, right?
You know my time will come.
You remember it.
It'll come.
Justice for O'Hara.
Well,
Justice for
but
O'Hara.
do you know how this has worked out? I'm not supposed to be here.
I know.
Right?
He's filling in for O'Hara.
I'm filling in for him, not the other way round. Like Coley's not
I
filling. That's not anyway.
I'm filling in for you. I'm supposed to be filling in for you.
For me,
It's crazy how this works. It's like a merry-go-round, isn't it?
It's a bit of a Frankenstein of a
to
show.
you, to me. Eh?
Ryan, you've been down at Cheltenham. How was it?
I have. Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. We were on the battle bus, which is there all week. On the walk to Cheltenham.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people asking for you, let me tell you, asking
were
if they were
they?
seeing any encouraging signs.
I've got to tell you, last 16 minutes tonight, no encouraging signs.
No encouraging
No
signs. No,
encouraging
it's been
signs,
great.
mate.
It's been great. Been very good, and we've had a lot of punters down, and they've been winning a lot of merch, and obviously having a little bet with TalkSport Bet as well. So it's been great. Been great.
Right. So you had any bets? Any bets on the horses today?
Do you know what? I said it
because I'm there on Friday, Gold Cup.
Are you really? Yeah. So am I. I'll be seeing you there,
we're linking up, innit? We're linking up.
It's just happened live on air. It's just happened. Do you know what we've got a few super boosters.
You're doing Studs Up tomorrow?
I am. Uh-oh.
Oh, you're coming back for that, are you?
Yeah. No. So tomorrow's the only day I'm not at Cheltenham, and then back on Friday.
You're back doing Studs Up. Okay, right.
Yeah. So we'll record Studs Up tomorrow.
Studs Up. All right. Okay.
Yeah, blockbuster episode that's going to be out on YouTube, by the way. Rory Jennings as well.
It's a podcast that Studs Up will do with Ryan and Rory.
Okay.
Yeah, for TalkSport Bet. So listen, listen. We'll have this conversation tomorrow. By the way, I haven't forgotten about you. Let's crack on. Early kickoff tomorrow. Lille host Aston Villa.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's these two had a bit of a conference classic, if there's such a thing, back in 2024. It finished 3-3 that night. Villa made it through on penalties. Villa, we know is obviously because we're in tune every week. Have just been wobbling the last month or so, but they have the best man for the job in the dugout. Ultimately, it will come down to that. And Villa are favourites away from home. Maybe that's the reason why. One of the many reasons. 11-8, Lille 19-10. To win at home tomorrow, and the draws 23-10. Who's the standout for Villa, really? That's the problem, really. The stars in the team aren't starring, I guess. That's how it is. I suppose you'd say Watkins and Rodgers. Watkins, we boosted to score anytime, 27-10, and Rodgers as well to get an assist to 16-5. So those are the two players you want to look at from a Villa perspective. Or Villa to win, both teams to score, I guess, 17-4. Difficult one to call, this one, but Villa are favourites as of right now.
Tammy Abraham, nothing?
Yeah, I guess Tammy Abraham, but he scored a few goals for them. But again, I don't think he's tearing up trees. I don't think anyone particularly is for Aston Villa at the moment. I've had the pleasure of being down to see them, and anytime he's 43-20, I'm still not sure if I'm confident. I'm not sure, Cody. I'm not sure in short.
Now on to Nottingham Forest, who take on Midtjylland.
Yeah. Revenge. That's what they'll be looking for here, because they lost this game 3-2 at home. This fixture back in October. So that's the undertone.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you're well. Please raise your hand if you have a question. We'll take questions from English media first, followed by any questions from Spanish media. Start with Vinny here at the front. Thank you.
Hi, Pep. Obviously, you came really close to getting the deficit back to 2 goals this evening when Courtois saved from Nico O'Reilly. So how do you sum up what happened tonight? And what thought is there that maybe Donnarumma's saves at the start of the second half and the penalty save still gives you hope in this tie?
Yeah, obviously, 3-0 is better than 4. A tough result, so we cannot deny it. The feeling that of course, it was difficult sometimes to control transition when they lose the ball, we lose the ball, and they connect. They don't put the ball away, and they contact for the next line, and after Vinicius and the rest of the players can run. But I had the feeling that it was quite decent, well played. So we arrived, I don't know how many times in the byline for the individual actions from Jeremy, for the long balls in the second post, especially for Antoine, And Nico Riley and the passes in the 6-yard box with 3 or 4 players were not able, not even to make the save from Courtois. We miss, I think, that action, especially the 50 minutes. The first goal, of course, was not well defended, and after good quality that they have with Valverde, with the assists for the players. Yeah, difficult result, but 6 days. So now recover, go to London, West Ham, and with our people, we will try.
Richard?
Hiya, Pep. I mean, obviously, 3-0 down to Real Madrid's going to be difficult, but I mean, what kind of a chance do you think you do have to turn it around from this?
No, not much. I'm not a guy to say we're going to do. Of course, we're going to try. And now everything is more difficult to leave our mindset, but we'll be there. We will try with our people, and at the end we'll read we can do better to be more active in the final third, and we will try.
Hi, Pep. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about the lineup there was before the game, and even more so during it. Are you willing to give an explanation to the amount of changes and what you hoped for the game tonight compared to what happened?
No, my changes. More changes was in Newcastle. So the last games, most of the players played. I want to be aggressive from outside, the 1-against-1s, especially in Jeremy was outstanding. In the right, we struggle a little bit more. Make a movement in behind. We do it with Antoine, with Nikos, with there. We arrive many times in that to have the sense that we can score a goal and try to see what happened in the second. But yeah, they arrived 3 times in the first half. They scored 3 goals, and we arrived in the final third many, many times. It's a dream. Like before Kevin arrived in that moment, in that positions, like we arrived. That's why they adjust. They put 5 in the back. Structures so inside. They defend. It's not easy to find. And some transition was good, sometimes not. But of course, it's Real Madrid, a good quality players, good quality team, and we could not score a goal that we needed.
Your reaction to the question, it doesn't seem to you that it felt like there was a lot of changes, but I think to a lot of others, it feels like you moved away from, the wide fullbacks. There was less protection for Rodri and Bernardo in the middle. How
many times Nico O'Reilly playing the left back in this season? How many times? The only adjust was Kusanov in that area because Vinicius moved in that area when a guy don't think much to attack a control man. The rest, were injured during 2 months, And they play incredible Savinho in Newcastle, and Jeremy always is incredible threat here. And people arrived, experience for Bernardo and Rodri. We have runners with Nikos and Antoine's for the sense of goal that all of them they have, for the set pieces, for the go in that position. That was the idea. So rotation have done it in Newcastle that play 9 players different than they were playing. One is fine. So understand what I'm saying, but the target is wingers to try to drop them, people in the middle in the pockets to arrive close to the box, control to the structure, the second structure with experienced players, fast players behind. That was the idea.
Simon?
Pep, you said that you wanted the players to be themselves and show the team's identity. Did you feel that they managed to do that tonight?
Most of the times, yeah. Some of the times, yeah. So it's not. I give credit to Madrid, so it's fantastic players. So Ibrahim, Arda Güler, and Vinicius, and Valverde, of course, and Tchouaméni is a quality team. We know it, and always we try to don't concede much transitions. That at the end, it was a little bit more than expected. They make 2 false nines, Güler, Ibrahim. They play without a striker. They play 1 more player there. They shoot a little bit jump, more central defenders. We didn't do that. Second half was a little bit much better. And the first goal we had to defend better, and the second was a good action for them, but it didn't create a lot of, I would say, actions in the first half to, I think, get that result.
Take some questions in Spanish, please. Just here at the front. Thank you.
Hola, Pep, ¿qué tal? Good evening. I'm Anton Miana from Cadena Seres Larga. Few people explain football to us as clearly as you did in December. Here, we've played worse games, haven't we? Better ones, and we've lost. But listening to your interview with Canal Plus today, and now with English, I can see that you don't think Madrid's game was that great. You talk a lot about transitions. You talk a lot about how 3 goals came 3 times. I can see that you didn't think Madrid's game was that great. Am I wrong?
I'm not wrong.
Or no?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, so that's why I say I perceive it. I had the impression it didn't.
I would say our team's performance wasn't so poor, so what did the 3-0 result? I did say that.
And what did you think of Madrid's game?
Well, if they win 3-0.
How are you? Good evening. Marcelo de Valderdosa, Futrolero.
What leaves a worse taste in your mouth?
The result that was difficult to overcome, the lack of play, or perhaps the feeling of power that the team left towards the end.
No, I don't have that feeling of helplessness. I think we played a game that was different from what we were or tried to be, that my teams offered by sinking them and by getting there. And we didn't create any chances where Cortueno intervened. 7th pass from Omar, a foul by Hamu. How many times have we reached the penalty area when it was just a matter of a good pass and pushing it through? When you manage to do that, you've done the right thing, yet then in this one you don't get tense and fly to the second ball. When Meniz or Thiago Pitar have played to you and they have the ball, they make contact with their backs and can run on you because they are always dangerous. Because Madrid have always been like that, but I was telling you that I have the feeling that we didn't cut it short. What a great game they played. There was that Nico save in the second half, but just how many times did we manage to get to the byline, close to the penalty box with a cross? When you get 6, 7, 8 times, it's because it wasn't that bad. We lacked that detail. If we had managed it, we would have scored a goal, I'm sure.
How are you, Pep? Eduardo Vidal from HSM Sports here. You were talking precisely about the issue of transitions. It often seemed that the team was congested in that last line, but especially defensively, do you think that from the board you could have changed something in the first minutes of the game to prevent Madrid's transitions?
Thank you. Well, I'm not sure if you modify the first 15 minutes, but I doubt any changes were necessary within that time frame. The first goal was a long ball that was the 4 that Porto Valverde took, and Nico misjudged the distance, and then the exceptional control, and then it was 1-1 for not giving a penalty and staying or being sent off because I didn't know. It's more difficult. Then, yes, they had. Yes, Madrid plays well. They've always played well. It's not just that. The feeling of transition has always been there since I've been a coach. And mind you, this is my 50th game against Madrid as a player and coach. 50 today was my birthday. And it's always been like, when you get past it, they dominate you and can create crosses and chances. And if you dominate them, they always have that feeling of playing and being able to run, which is a great virtue, of course. But I don't have the feeling. It's true that they control the yell, they pass the ball, but my feeling is that we haven't been that bad. But this decision with a 3-0 scoreline has little strength.
Hello, Pep. This is Sergio Horas for the breakaway. Arbeloa said yesterday that you always tend to surprise when you play against Real Madrid, and now we asked him later in the press room, and he said no, he didn't have any surprises prepared. I want to ask him if anything about Arbeloa's lineup with 5 midfielders with Valverde playing on both wings surprised him. If Arbeloa's approach surprised him, thank you.
Yes, we normally play a 4-4-4-2. They defended with 5-32 or 5-41, and above all, they played with the fixed striker. They opened up the pitch a lot with Vinicius and Valverde, and they dropped the players Goulart and Ibrahim close to Pitarch and Jameni, and had players in midfield. Those were the 5-10 minutes. Well, look, in this we tried to bring Ruben or Mark up to try, but they were good counterattacks. Or positioning and skill from the players who made a good moves from Valverde, and, well, it ended very well among us. We need to congratulate them. Boy.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Buenas noches.
English teams were humbled on the European circuit last night.
Now ball over the top.
Lesson tonight, Manchester City.
Real Madrid.
Should the end.
1 Arsenal. They were pumped 3-0 by the 15-time holders Real Madrid thanks to a Valverde hat-trick. And tournament favourites Arsenal had to rely on a very dubious penalty decision in the final 5 minutes to come away with a 1-1 draw at Bayer Leverkusen. Gabs, you were in your room last night.
Yes.
The multi-screen's all moving. Champions League night in Gabs' room.
So I watched the Arsenal game first, 5:45. Arsenal were terrible. Leverkusen by far the better team. First half, Martinelli had a great opportunity where he smashed one left foot off the bar. But apart from that, Leverkusen were the better team, and they should feel very unlucky. There was 2 instances for me where Zubamendi should have been sent off. He got a yellow card. And then Madueke dived for a penalty. Blatant dive. Mr. Biased, Martin Keown, doing the game last night, said it was a definite penalty. It's getting a bit silly now. He's biased towards Arsenal. Definite dive, and I'm just surprised that VAR didn't overturn it. So Arsenal very lucky. And another boring game to watch.
Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta said after the game that results shows just how hard the Champions League is.
Yeah, and how difficult it is to win against any opponent in the competition, and especially away from home. And there is a big factor there. Probably then you realize what we've done to win it in a row in this competition, because it's so tough that nobody did it before. So yeah, fully aware of that. We need the importance of the game and the difficulty of the opponent, and now we need to finish it in London.
Gabs, is this a good or bad result for Mikel Arteta?
Oh no, it's an okay result. To go 1-1 away from home. Yes, they should be beating Leverkusen, who I think they're 22 points off Bayern Munich, who are top of the table in the Bundesliga. They should be doing better there, but in the Champions League, to take it back to the Emirates 1-1, you'd more than fancy Arsenal to get out this tie.
Sorry, but there is an element of arrogance. You know, everyone's talking about, oh, how easy the draw is for Arsenal. Again, they're on the right side of the draw. They never got a convincing win last night. It was a penalty that made them get 1-1. And then also, we're talking about Bodo Glimt, who will likely be the favourites to see them in the next round. And Bodo do look a little bit more threatening, a little bit more convincing in their wins.
I think when you look at this tie, you look at Leverkusen's form, the players that they've lost, they're nowhere near the Leverkusen side that went invincible in their league title under Alonso. Like I said, they're 22 points behind Bayern Munich. They're in 6th place in the Bundesliga. Arsenal should be beating them comfortably over 2 legs, even though Champions League can be tough. And I expect them in the second leg to win by a couple of goals.
Yesterday, you were here with White and Alex Crook on the show. And
I know where you're going.
You were joined by Premier League winner John Obi Mikel. And he had this to say about Arsenal.
What is illegal about it? It's, for me, every time I watch them during the corner kicks, during set pieces, what they do during set pieces, for me, it's illegal. You can't do that. First of all, they're impeding the goalkeeper, and now they start holding. How can the referee not see that? Even if the ball goes in, how can the VAR not see that? And for me, the PGMOL, they need to come out, and they need to, straight away, they need to stop this, because if they don't stop this, the whole bunch of teams are going to start doing it. And for me, that's illegal. So that is what I mean, that Arsenal are trying to cheat their way to winning the Premier League.
They're trying to cheat their way to winning the Premier League. But this kind of stuff at corner kicks has been going on for years, John.
Not the size that I'm seeing right now. It's week in, week out. You look at Gabriel, you look at Saliba, you look at Declan Rice. They are physically manhandling players. They're holding players. You can't do that. That is penalty. It doesn't matter how much you look at it. The VAR can see that.
Strong stuff there from John Obi Mikel with you yesterday, Gabs, on White and Crook. He's off the Christmas card list now of Mikel Arteta.
He's not a fan.
I know, keen to get the thoughts of this man on that Arsenal perspective. Very good morning to former Arsenal midfielder Adrian Clark. Good morning, Adrian.
Good morning, Adrian.
Morning, Siobhan. Morning, Gabby. What's he on about? Come on, this is. I mean, he'd had a few of those whispering angels that Alan had bought, hadn't he? I mean, come on.
He's been hanging about with Rory Jennings.
Adrian is taking Arsenal to court, I think, for their illegal goals.
Illegal? I mean, honestly, are Arsenal the only team that are guilty of this? To be perfectly honest, if all of this was outlawed, where there's no grappling at all, the biggest beneficiaries of all would be Arsenal, because they're the victims of it more than they are the perpetrators, that's for sure. But last night, Kai Havertz got booked for being held on the goal line himself. It happens inside the box for every corner, for every team. It's absolute nonsense what John Obi Mikel is coming out with there. I'm sorry.
What do you make of last night, Adrian? Because it did quite amuse me, because I saw the social media of Leverkusen before the game saying no corners allowed, and then they go and score off a corner. It did tickle me when they scored.
Yeah, it didn't tickle me as much, Gabby, but it was. I'm hearing you, and actually, if you look back at that corner, they out Arsenal'd Arsenal. They sort of did that far post routine, where everyone sort of comes towards the middle, and then they used a blocker, and Eberechi Eze basically was trying to mark the guy that scored, and got completely blocked and held up. But it's one of those where you can't really cry wolf if you're Arsenal, because it's something that they do really well. So it was just a clever corner from Leverkusen. But in general, I didn't think Arsenal played very well. I thought it was a little bit of a low-key performance, low tempo. And as you just said, given the performance, it's a great result, because, you know, the tie is still just about in Arsenal's favour. So they got away with one a little bit last night, I'd say.
What did you make of Gyökeres' performance? I thought it was poor once again. And also Saka. When I seen Madueke coming on, I thought straight away Saka's got to go off. Dragged after 60 minutes. And for the manager to take his captain off, he must have really had a poor performance, Adrian.
Yeah, I would pick on Gyökeres less. I think, he wasn't great, but I don't think he was any worse than anyone else. But Bukayo Saka was a shadow of his usual self in the game. And actually, I said on commentary during the game, I said, this is a brave call from Arteta. 59 minutes in, takes off your captain Saka. He's not judging Saka there on reputation. He's judging him on what he's seeing. And that's what good managers should do. And he was in your words, Gabby, he was miles off it. He really was. And Madueke came on and definitely improved the team, gave them a lift, and obviously won the penalty as well. So it was a good managerial call. But I don't know what was up with Saka. You know, we're all entitled to have off nights, and it was definitely an off night for him.
Sorry, Shaban. I spoke to Obi Mikel last night, and he said he fainted when the penalty was given. What did you think of the penalty, Madueke, Adrian?
It's embarrassing.
Even on the news, they're saying, did Arsenal cheat their way to a draw? I can't believe this. Look, when I first saw it, right, I thought, this one might get overturned, okay? But then you've got to use your eyes and look at it. And as you look at it, he does great. He ducks in between the two. And as you look at it, the guy who's sliding in, his rib cage or his side lands on Madueke's foot, and then he tries to get his foot out of it, and that's where he sort of then launches into a little bit of a tumble. But it was definitely a penalty. There's no doubt about it.
English teams were humbled on the European circuit last night.
Brilliant play from Madueke.
Night.
Yes.
The multi-screens all moving. Champions League night in Gab's room.
So I watched the Arsenal game first, 5:45. Arsenal were terrible. Leverkusen by far the better team. First half, Martinelli had a great opportunity where he smashed one left foot off the bar. But apart from that, Leverkusen were the better team, and they should feel very unlucky. There was two instances for me where Zubamendi should have been sent off. He got a yellow card. And then Madueke dived for a penalty. Blatant dive. Mr. Biased, Martin Keown, doing the game last night, said it was a definite penalty. It's getting a bit silly now. He's biased towards Arsenal. Definite dive, and I'm just surprised that VAR didn't overturn it. So Arsenal very lucky, and another boring game to watch.
Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta said after the game that results shows just how hard the Champions League is.
Yeah, and how difficult it is to win against any opponent in the competition, and especially away from home. And there is a big factor there. Probably then you realize what we've done to win 8 in a row in this competition, because it's so tough that nobody did it before. So fully aware of that. We need the importance of the game and the difficulty of the opponent, and now we need to finish it in London.
Gabs, is this a good or bad result for Mikel Arteta?
Oh no, it's an okay result. To go 1-1 away from home, yes, they should be beating Leverkusen, who I think they're 22 points off Bayern Munich, who are top of the table in the Bundesliga. They should be doing better there, but in the Champions League, to take it back to the Emirates 1-1, you'd more than fancy Arsenal to get out this tie.
Sorry, but there is an element of arrogance You know, everyone's talking about, oh, how easy the draw is for Arsenal. Again, they're on the right side of the draw. They never got a convincing win last night. It was a penalty that made them get 1-1. And then also, we're talking about Bodo Glimt, who will likely be the favourites to see them in the next round. And Bodo do look a little bit more threatening, a little bit more convincing in their wins.
I think when you look at this tie, you look at Leverkusen's form, the players that they've lost, they're nowhere near the Leverkusen side that went invincible in their league title under Alonso. Like I said, they're 22 points behind Bayern Munich. They're in 6th place in the Bundesliga. Arsenal should be beating them comfortably over 2 legs, even though Champions League can be tough. And I expect them in the second leg to win by a couple of goals.
Yesterday, you were here with White and Alex Crook on the show. And
I know where you're going.
You were joined by Premier League winner John Obi Mikel. And he had this to say about Arsenal.
What is illegal about it, it's for me, every time I watch them during the corner kicks, during set pieces, what they do during set pieces, for me, it's illegal. You can't do that. First of all, they're impeding the goalkeeper, and now they start holding. How can the referee not see that? Even if the ball goes in, how can the VAR not see that? And for me, the PGMOL, they need to come out, and they need to, straight away, they need to stop this, because if they don't stop this, the whole bunch of teams are going to start doing it. And for me, that's illegal. So that is what I mean, that Arsenal are trying to cheat their way to winning the Premier League.
They're trying to cheat their way to winning the Premier League. But this kind of stuff at corner kicks has been going on for years, John.
Not the sides that I'm seeing right now. It's week in, week out. You look at Gabriel, you look at Saliba, you look at Declan Rice. They are physically manhandling players. They're holding players. You can't do that. That is penalty. It doesn't matter how much you look at it. The VAR can see that.
Strong stuff there from John Obi Mikel with you yesterday, Gabs, on White and Crook. He's off the Christmas card list now of Mikel Arteta.
He's not a fan.
I know, keen to get the thoughts of this man on that Arsenal perspective. Very good morning to former Arsenal midfielder Adrian Clark. Good morning, Adrian.
Good morning, Adrian.
Morning, Siobhan. Morning, Gabby. What's he on about? Come on, this is. I mean, he'd had a few of those whispering angels that Alan had bought, hadn't he? I mean, come on.
He's been hanging about with Rory Jennings.
Adrian, he's taking Arsenal to court, I think, for their illegal goals.
Illegal? I mean, honestly, are Arsenal the only team that are guilty of this? To be perfectly honest, if all of this was outlawed, where there's no grappling at all, the biggest beneficiaries of all would be Arsenal.
Leeds United up against Manchester City. The topic here, Emmanuel, basically, and I know you're aware of it, some Muslim players were booed for breaking their Ramadan fasting. Let me just explain a bit more around this. 11 minutes into the game at Elland Road, a large section of the Leeds supporters began booing when play was stopped for Manchester City's Muslim players to break their Ramadan fasting. Now, an explainer that this was coming flashed up on the Elland Road big screen and said that play has been paused briefly to allow players to break their fast. Now, that didn't go down well with many of the Leeds United supporters, and boos continued alongside some of the chanting. 20 minutes after that, the big screen displayed a message against discriminatory behaviour with a slogan, "All Leeds, aren't we? Real fans don't discriminate." So it was down to this. City named 3 Muslim players, Marmoush, Cherki and Ait Nouri, in their starting 11. And those players, at the end of all of this, were ending their fast. They're ending their period of fasting. And that comes at a time, tradition tells us, when the sun sets. No particular set time, but this was always going to be the set time. And it was about 25, 30 seconds. But anyway, it was picked up by Pep Guardiola, who spoke about it post-match.
It's a modern world, right? Look what happened in the world right now, today again, right? If we don't respect the religion, respect the diversity. That is the point. If the rule, we didn't say that. We didn't. If the Premier League said, okay, for the fasting, you can be 1 or 2 minutes, to do that. For the players, do it. So that's where it is, unfortunately.
That was Pep's take on it. In a situation like this, after fasting, it's our understanding that taking fluids as early as possible could make the difference between preventing cramping, preventing dizziness, not falling into that kind of condition. Players take carbohydrate gels or electrolyte drinks to stabilize blood sugar levels instantly. Kick It Out, we're onto it, the anti-discrimination movement. It's massively disappointing that some Leeds United fans booed when Manchester City's players broke their fast during the first half of the match at Elland Road this evening. This was compounded by the fact that an explanation was displayed on a big screen inside the stadium. Pausing the game to allow Muslim players to break their fast during Ramadan has been an agreed protocol for several years now. It has been. It's been in place for about 4 to 5 years now. Emmanuel, in your view, I don't know if this happened in French football, but how badly did some Leeds fans let themselves down?
I don't like it. In fact, I hate it.
You hate what? You hate what? The fact that they booed?
Yes, definitely. Because first of all, it's the protocol. But I think more important than that is the political environment we're living in this world, actually. And I totally agree with what Pep just said. And we need more love in this world, you know. There is war everywhere. There is racism coming from everywhere now. And I'm quite scared about what will happen in the future. And to be honest, the world we're living to our kids, you know. And this is not the kind of message, you know, that for me is very helpful for this world. And if you switch on the television, or if you started to read newspapers, you want to commit suicide right now, because the world we're living is poor. And what happened, you know, at Leeds, it's terrible. And I'm pretty sure it's not a reflection of what the vast majority of Leeds fans think.
You see this as a lack of tolerance?
Of course. But in the meantime, I can understand sometimes some people saying that if you try to make a difference, you know, for a religion, if you put religion into sport, then you open a door that's somewhere you cannot close. But this is the protocol. I respect every religion. I respect every skin color. I respect every the differences between people around the world. I think we are millions of thinking like this, but there is more and more people on this planet that think the opposite, and this is for something that I'm very worried about.
Can you understand in any way, Simon, a number of the Leeds supporters being irate about this and venting their anger that the game was held up?
Well, not particularly. But is it centred in the fact that, because the default setting will be that centred in discrimination and racism rather than necessarily intolerance of the game being stopped, what was considered to be the opposition? If there were Muslim players playing in the Leeds side and they had been part of a fasting break, would the fans have booed them? Yeah. Because there is a leap to a conclusion that's drawn by the usual suspects that this is racism and it can only be racism. It's only racism. It's only discrimination, rather than an intolerance towards something that's happening that the opposition might be benefiting from rather than the home side. So that might form part of the thinking. Only in the minds of the Leeds fans that booed do we actually know the motivation, and all the usual suspects will seek to turn around and say, aha, see, alive and kicking. We've got a big problem over here. And it might be that. And it might be something different. The balancing act in my mind, and I'm going to put it out there, is there a necessity to break a game? I understand the protocol. Can we not wait until half-time? If these players are fit enough to start a game, can they not wait till half-time? I understand the dynamics of not disrespecting anyone's religion by asking
How long does it last, you know, when you...
Oh, it's on 30 seconds.
Yes, okay.
So it's almost incidental.
Almost.
I don't think I personally don't agree with the booing side of things, but I'm not going to
30 seconds, that's it.
Yes. But fans...
VAR interruption last probably 6 or 7 minutes sometimes.
And again, and they boo for that too. I mean, if it is indeed steeped in discrimination, then it needs to be looked at in that respect. If it's primarily... I mean, again, I asked the question, we can never answer this question because they didn't have any Muslim players in the Leeds side. If it had been Leeds players that were of a Muslim religion and that were breaking their fast at the same time, would the fans have booed them? We won't know that because we can't put ourselves in the way of that test. So, tragically, it will get weaponised as an example of bad things in society. Right. And football, perhaps... You know, they've messaged the fans, they've made the message very clear, and certain sections of the fan base have booed, and it might be just as in danger of repeating myself, only because the opposition playing in their stadium are the only players that need to take the benefit of breaking their fast.
I hope so. I hope you're right.
I'll ask that question, Simon. I mean, if you were a Leeds fan inside Elland Road, on the night, did you boo because you were intolerant of it, that it's interfering with what you're watching? And to an extent, it's because it wasn't one of your players. It was a Manchester City players. Just for the record, in 2021, an agreement was introduced to allow Muslim players to break their fast during a Premier League match. And that's exactly what we saw. But were you one of the ones booing? If you want to tell us yes, you were, and why you were, then you might want to give us a call. 03717 223344. It's Monday morning. Jim White, Simon Jordan, Emmanuel Petit. Muslim players booed for breaking their Ramadan fasting. This was at Elland Road 11 minutes into the game against Manchester City. It was reported that a large section of Leeds fans began booing when play was stopped for City's Muslim players to break their Ramadan fasting. The players in question, Marmoush, Cherki, Ait Nuri. And it went on for not even a minute, less than a minute, when this break in play came along. But this goes back to 2021, when an agreement was introduced to allow Muslim players to break their fast during a Premier League match. And there was an explainer that this was going to happen on the big screen at Elland Road. Play has been paused briefly to allow players to break their fast. But that said, didn't stop many Leeds fans booing. So was this a concerning lack of respect that was displayed at that particular time? Sophie is a Nottingham Forest fan who wants her say on this. Sophie, good morning. What's your take on it?
Oh, morning. Hi, guys. Are you well?
Good morning. Yes, we are. Thanks, Sophie. What do you think?
Yeah, just really disappointed, if I'm being honest. As a female Muslim fan who obviously supports Nottingham Forest, just to see that really. And it just goes to show you really how I feel, in my opinion, that the game has still a lot to do in terms of especially South Asian communities and the Muslim representation, how it's still got a long way to go to make Muslim players, South Asian players, Muslim fans to feel more included. And I think Leeds fans should feel, those who were, and I know it's not going to be all of them, those who were booing should actually be really disappointed and ashamed of themselves.
Sophie, stay in the line for a second. Scott is a Leeds fan who joins us. Scott, good morning. What did you think of it? Were you there?
I was, yeah. A cracking show, by the way. I completely disagree with what the ladies just said. Although what I would say is I'd condemn it if it was people doing it. My seat's in the Cobb, and we're quite vocal, as most people will know. And what the background to this booing, which there was a lot of booing, it wasn't about the breaking of the fast. It was about Donnarumma and Guardiola doing the normal City housery tactics, shall we say. If people are going to break their fast and there was 2 or 3 Muslim players on the pitch, why does it take 11 players to go over to the bench and get briefed? It just happened to be at the time that they were getting battered by Leeds at the time. And I completely disagree with it.
But it was your understanding, was it not, Scott, and the rest of the fans around you, that this was nonetheless a brief break in play because of a religious nature, to allow Muslim players to break the Ramadan fasting? Was that not your understanding? Because that's what went up in the big screen.
No, I understand what you're saying, Jim, but no. Again, this is going back to the previous game at the City Ground where we were losing 2-0 at half-time, and then we came back to 2-2, and then as players do, they start to waste time. And that's what happened at the City Ground. They got them in. Donnarumma did an injury, feigned an injury, and then all the players went over for a huddle, and that's exactly what those booing was about. And I was listening earlier on, and you were saying that they then put on a thing on a big screen later on that we don't tolerate any.
Yes, we don't discriminate. Yeah.
Now that goes on probably every 5 minutes throughout the game, every game. So that's nothing different.
But Scott, I'll ask you again. When there was a break in play, was it your understanding that it was to allow certain Muslim players to break their fast?
Well, yeah, you could clearly see that was that.
You could see that,
but that's not what the booing was, though. The booing was as all the players went over.
But you can see how it's now construed, though, Scott, can't you?
I can absolutely, but then again, you've got to look into these things a little bit deeper. We, as football fans, we have long memories, and this is just going back to inevitably, well, ironically, which was the turn of our season, the City game away. But that's what it was about genuinely. In the Kop and many areas in the ground, there are many Asian fans, Sikh, from all different types of people and religious backgrounds, and I genuinely believe that was not the case. We were infuriated by the fact that the entire City bench went over and had a team talk.
Scott, thanks for your time. Sophie, back to you. What do you think of what Scott has just said?
A bit of a coincidence, and Scott can vouch for every single Leeds fan that was there, that that's what they were doing for. Listen, my perspective is of a person who has lived experience of attending Forest games. I can't say anything about Forest, really inclusive. I can't say anything about other football clubs as well. So, there are some really, really good football clubs that will include the Muslim communities, offer iftars, opening of fasts at the football clubs. Forest have done it. Blackburn are really good at it, Oldham Athletic. So communities where there are large populations of South Asian Muslim communities, to try and embrace and integrate them into the game. So there is some really good work going on, but I don't know if Scott can vouch for every single fan. It's just my pessimistic
Okay, Sophie,
view
before you leave us,
Yeah.
Maybe you can answer this question. I'm looking at a lot of points being made by fans who are calling in. Many are saying, why couldn't this moment have waited, been put off until half time when play had stopped, obviously, for the time being? As a Muslim woman live with us this morning, what is your answer to that? Is that a relevant point, or did it have to be 25, 30 seconds, 11 minutes into the game?
2 points to that. If you've ever fasted, you wouldn't be asking that question, They're elite
Explain
athletes.
that to me.
So obviously, so if you're fasting for with any length of time, if you're spending a long amount of time without food or water, that's going to have an impact, some sort of impact on your health and well-being. Now, these Man City players will have nutritionists, they'll be smart about what and how they eat. Okay, so Islamically, it's important to try and open and break your fast as soon as, obviously, the sun sets. And secondly, in any profession or walk of life, whether you're a footballer, whether you're a bank manager, if you're being inclusive and integrating, as we're all trying to be, then in any other profession, in any other walk of life, if you are working and your fast is due to open, there'll be adaptations, accommodations to allow you to do that. So why should football be any different?
Okay, Sophie, thank you very much indeed.
I'm just fascinated why the preferred explanation is it has to be racism of some shape or form. Why is the preferred explanation? You have a Leeds fan on the call that's suggesting that it's a matter of course the Man City players have all gone over. By the way, why would they be all going over? Because they're taking a competitive advantage out of it. So I always find it fascinating when an explanation is given, why the preferred explanation is it must be discrimination. Why is that the preferred one? Why is somebody that wasn't there able to trump somebody that was there and say, I prefer it to be discrimination?
Why are you taking that as read?
Because that's what the caller just said. Oh, that's very convenient. Well, so your preferred explanation is that it was racism. Okay, if that's your preferred explanation, then it's your preferred explanation. It may well be, in my point of view, that actually it might just be that football fans were totally intolerant of the fact that the entire Man City team, rather than being stood in their positions waiting for the Muslim players that were fasting to be able to break their fast, were now taking a competitive advantage out of it. And the Leeds fans, and you've got another experiential text message from a Leeds fan that's just texted me. You've got a caller coming on, but they're not the preferred explanation. The racism one is the preferred explanation.
But you do accept though that the play has been paused briefly. The notice that went up to allow players to break their fast. Yeah. That there are a number of supporters inside Ellen Road, obviously, who's in saying that thing. No, I'm not having that.
But if we jump to the conclusion that steeps in racism and discrimination, then that's the part that I'm having trouble with. I don't like them booing. They should just get on with it. In lots of things in football fans,
but there may be some element of that.
And there may be some element of that. But we've just heard a caller come in and say, I'm sat in the stand, and the motivation for doing it was because Man City are doing the usual bit, and the reaction from the lady on the call was, man, how convenient that is. My preferred explanation is discrimination. I mean, what do you do with that?
I mean,
wait half time. Wait half time. That's it. This is the answer.
But they don't want to. I mean, I wonder how these...
That will close the problem.
But then there'll be arguments about prejudice and discrimination. And it's a fascinating argument because I wonder how our traditions will be reported into other countries and how they'll be treated.
If you open the door on different religions, into sports, and you try to change rules, then all of a sudden you open a door you cannot close. So as I said, I respect every single.
But that's discrimination.
Exactly.
But that's discrimination. You're discriminating against Muslims. By that logic. You just heard the lady.
Well, otherwise Catholic or Jewish, anyone can do anything, during the game.
Indeed, it's a point well made. But
that's what I'm saying.
We heard from a Muslim lady there who said when the sun sets, that's when the fast is broken. And at that particular time, 11 minutes into the game at Elland Road, that's when the players broke their fast. And that was agreed.
Why don't you bring the players on after 11 minutes then? If you've got Muslim players on the side that are so unable to compete in it. I mean, there's a whole raft of observations, but the central theme will be...
It's been in place for 5 years, Simon.
I accept that.
So why do some have an issue with it now?
But Leeds had an issue with it relational to Manchester City. How many times have other teams had an issue with it? How were Leeds in the Premier League when this rule was deployed? Have they had an experience of it previously? Were there fans, with all due respect to this argument, because none of us know the mentality of the reasons why the fans were doing it, were there fans booing because they felt Manchester City were taking advantage of a situation? If that was the case, then this discrimination argument does not have any grounds. And my point in all this, why is it the preferred argument? Why is it the preferred argument? Well, it must be discrimination.
No, not right across the board, Simon. It might have been
wasn't
an
the last
argument
caller.
for both.
Wasn't the last caller?
Might have been an argument for both. Anyway, just gone 11:30.